Right, okay, we're going to be talking about regressing back to a time before reason with SJWs and Islamists. So, what's first on the agenda, V?
I want the one with arranged marriages.
Go ahead. I'll let you share the screen so people can see.
I will share the screen so people can see it. So
we will go through arranged marriages if you'd like.
By the way, before I get to this, I want to state that in my country, the gypsy population are allowed to have arranged marriages. They're not recognized by the state. However, they are recognized in the gypsy communities, if you will. And they marry kids as young as 7 or 9-year-olds.
Yeah, it's socially enforced, isn't it? It's not legally enforced.
It is socially enforced. And they often say that, well, no sex is going to happen. That's not true. I work at the hospital and I saw 12-year-olds being pregnant.
Of course it's going to happen.
I saw a gypsy woman that was crying because she was at her third pregnancy. And she said she doesn't want a fourth. So the doctors asked her, like, well, why don't you use condoms? Can't you afford them? And she said, no, it's that my husband wants me to get pregnant so that I don't cheat on him.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, it's disastrous. It's really a problem. And to see people defending arranged marriage is just abhorrent. Like, they don't understand what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I know most are saying, well, it's bad for the man as well. And it probably is.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying that it's not. But most of the time, especially when it's older men marrying younger women, because that happens a lot, the older men get to choose who they want to marry. The woman almost never chooses. It's
It's generally not something you would want in a free society.
It really isn't. And there was this gypsy woman who ran away with her lover, and she got beaten severely because she did so. Okay,
so I mean, it's not like Muslims would ever beat women, though.
No.
There's nothing in the Quran about beating women or anything like that. It's not like women are just devalued in comparison to men or anything like that. So, I mean, let's talk about the Islamic arranged marriage. And I mean, it's probably going to be fine.
Arranged marriages are the cultural norm for many Muslim societies across the world. Men and women who are ready to get married may meet their future spouse through family or friends. Since generally Muslims do not date in the popular Western cultural sense, many couples look to arranged marriages as a means to wedded bliss. The expectation is that the seed for love is planted and will continue to bloom after the marriage. Before any potential candidates are considered, families as a unit decide the values and characteristics that potential spouses should have so the couple have a satisfying life together. How can you decide? Most of these are usually decided before puberty, so how do you can even know the qualities?
If someone you don't really know, you're going to marry them.
Yeah, like because their parents are from a good family.
Yeah.
Or because their parents are giving us land.
Yeah.
Or they're giving us money or whatnot. The traditional period of courtship is relative from culture to culture, family to family. After the initial introduction, some families grant the prospective groom and bride the chance to meet in private under supervision. Meet in private under supervision. It's like getting a pet cat for your dog, and you're like now meeting. You're holding them under supervision to see how they react to each other.
Yeah.
Others allow them to get to know each other on the telephone, via text or email. Some families encourage the potential couple to go out in public, usually in a group setting. People can be introduced through families, well-meaning community members, matchmaking services, online matrimonial sites, through imams, teachers and friends with a pre-planned goal being marriage. Perhaps a better term should be arranged courtship. No, it's you just said it differs from culture to culture.
Yeah,
right? So,
but I mean, this is what I would describe as patriarchal.
Yeah.
You know, this is like the actual patriarchy the feminists are always complaining about.
Well, you know, if it's just like your mom and dad going like, listen, Carl, we found this nice woman for you. Maybe you should like talk to her. You know, that's not an arranged marriage.
No.
An arranged marriage is like you have to marry this person. And I like how this article is muddying the waters. It's like, oh, it's arranged courtship. No, it's either arranged marriage or it's not. You know?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Since couples in arranged marriages come together as a result of their extended family and community, they naturally think of their relationship as part of something bigger than just the two of them. Many couples have extremely happy arranged marriages. Half my siblings and friends are in very degree of arranged marriages. My cousin had totally arranged marriage. She did not meet her husband until the day before she got married. They are one of the happiest couple I know. Masa'Allah. I choose not to go that route. Okay, see, just because they're happy doesn't mean that's okay. They don't know any alternative.
Yeah. And not only that, like, just because they're happy, how many people are unhappy in their marriages?
Yeah.
You know? And not only that, it's the woman has to ask the man for permission for a divorce if she's unhappy. What if he's perfectly happy with how this is going because he has all of the control and power in the situation, and she's not? What's she going to do? I mean, she has to then apply to like imams and like the Sharia courts and stuff. And it's not like they're particularly generous towards women, is it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking how hypocritical the author is, because she goes like, I chose not to go that route. I met my husband in college, but my marriage included the consent of my parents and my husband's family. Yeah, but see, here you go. You actually chose who you wanted to marry with.
Yeah.
And the shocking thing is that you needed the consent of your parents and your husband's family. So if they wouldn't give you the consent, you would not be able to marry the person.
Yeah. I mean, just a quick side note here. Someone in the chat called Muslim378 or something says Sargon is Jew. Now, is that someone from the alt-right pretending to be a Muslim, or is that genuinely a Muslim who's concerned about the Jews? I can't tell. How would you know? How am I supposed to identify?
I don't understand why. Like, even if you were a Jew, how would this add to the argument?
Yeah, it wouldn't change a thing. But I love the fact that could come from either of these camps. I mean, the alt-right, really, you guys should consider converting to Islam. It contains a lot of the things you want. Okay, enough of the triggering. Carry on. Sorry.
Just like non-arranged marriages, not every arranged marriage or a proposal works out for a variety of reasons, nor arranged marriage the only way Muslim can get married. So get rid of them.
Yeah.
Get rid of them. Like, I just don't understand the...
Stop being so controlling of your children.
Yeah. The difference between arranged marriages and forced marriages. Oh, there's a difference.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Forced marriage, on the other hand, occurs when a man or a woman is coerced by the family to marry using threats, emotional blackmail, fraud, and even bribes.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure there's no coercion going on at all in these arranged marriages.
No, these are the forced ones.
Yeah, I know, but that's the thing. In arranged marriages, are you saying there's no coercion going on there? Oh, come on, of course they're being coerced.
To be fair, bribes are not really like forced marriage. I mean,
what? Sorry, did you say bribes or bribes?
Yeah, bribes. Like,
right,
you are bribed to do this. Like, then it's your choice.
Well, yeah, but that's still coercion of a form. But even then, do you really think the parents aren't putting severe emotional pressure on these kids?
No, well, they say it's threats, emotional blackmail, fraud, and even bribes. Arrange against the person's will without consent or consent under duress. That is not a marriage in Islam. It is oppression and abuse.
Oh, I'm glad that we agree on something.
Yeah, we agree on something. However, saying that is not a marriage in Islam, that's false, because there are cases like Saudi Arabia where they do this.
Of course, it would still count as a legal marriage.
Yeah. And under ISIS, they don't marry. They just have them as sex slaves because it's haram.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing, that, isn't it? The old ISIS sex slaves. How do the progressives spin that?
Well, usually the progressives, most of them agree that ISIS is bad. And some of them say that it's not all Muslims. So
they do say that they're not real Muslims, don't they?
No, not all Muslims.
Yeah, but they also say they're not real Muslims. And it's like, well, they seem to be really following the Quran. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a real Muslim either. So
the Quran lets you have 3 wives and how many sex slaves you want?
4, I think it is.
4? Oh, that's so generous. Marriage in Islam requires jihad and a qubul, proposal and acceptance. Forcing a woman to marry a man means that there was no qubul. This is the right of a woman regardless of her age. Without it, the marriage is a sham, like living a zina. Why do these Muslims never translate their fucking words? Can you imagine if I would be talking and every time I would put a Romanian word? Yes. Still there, mate. You muted your microphone.
You're right. I did mute my microphone.
Yeah. What do you think about Muslims translating words?
Yeah, it's just laziness. I don't know why the word Allah is used in any translation of the Quran or in any. It's just God.
No, but
They're
I'm
talking
looking
about
like
the same God. That's why people like, well, it's not the same God. Well, they think it's the same God.
yeah, but it's not. No, but I'm looking like they use words like yihab and kubul, zina.
Yeah, they could quite easily just use an English translation.
Yeah, they're like the fucking French. They're so proud of their language. They need to enforce it on. Some parents use the tactic of not speaking to a son or daughter for months at a time to convince them to get married to the person of the parent's choice. This is akin to cutting off the ties of the womb, which is a sin. Hey, listen, if you would abolish arranged marriages, this would not happen. Other families threaten to disown the offspring if he or she does not accept the prospective spouse, especially if it is a cousin from the homeland. In other places, the women are not given the right to even think that they can say no. They are brainwashed from a young age to obey their parents, even if their hearts are screaming never. I have read through pages of testimonies of young women and men suffering through forced marriages.
You're still quoting from the thing, yeah?
Yeah. Among the rights of our parents is that we obey them, but this obedience is not blind, deaf, and dumb. A nikah is a spiritual contract, and you cannot have a contract when one of the parties do not agree. That is marriage under Islam. So, what I'm understanding is that this author is against arranged marriages, but she is pointing it out that it's not part of Islam. That in Islam, it's more like your family introduces you to your spouse, but they can't force you to get that spouse, which is still bad in my opinion.
But even then, this is on paper.
Yeah.
How realistic are we really thinking this is? In practice.
Yeah, it isn't realistic, and not only that, but if I find the woman that I really like, and my father says no, or her father says no, there's nothing we can do about it.
No.
So it's still bad. Why do parents do force their offspring into an unwanted marriage? They love you, they take care of you. Your mother carried you in her womb for months, nursed you, cried at your every pain. Your father worked days and nights to provide for you. Then why is it when it comes to the time to get married, they should be your protectors and support, but instead are willing to submit you to abuse? Many times it is culture. It is often family pressure. They have made promises or commitments to their relatives. Sometimes their relatives are emotionally blackmailing them by threatening to cut off family ties. Wait, so you're married to the relatives?
Oh, a lot of the time it's cousin marriages.
Oh, that's perfectly fine. No, it's understandable.
Oh, yeah, it's totally fine. Don't you dare criticize that, V.
It's their culture, yeah.
Yeah, it's their culture. Exactly. It's their culture. Therefore, it must be acceptable.
What parents often do not realize in wanting to keep their kinship intact, they are destroying their own children. Yeah, and another thing, like, how can they promise you to someone else? Like, how can they make a promise in your name? That's something in my culture doesn't exist. Like, I can only promise things in my name. I can't promise things in your name.
Yeah, obviously. But I mean, that's most cultures that are sensible.
No, it views children as property. This is what it does.
Yeah, but it views women as property as well, so.
Yeah, so children and women are viewed as property.
Yeah.
Other reasons include a perverted notion of Izzah, family honor.
Oh, I love this, the perverted notion of Islam. Oh, yeah, Muslims don't understand Islam, but progressives do. Got ya.
What? So is there like a non-perverted version of Izzah?
Yeah, it's the Muslims who are raised in the West to progressive parents who then, go around saying, oh, no, guys, this isn't real Islam. It's like, are you sure that you're not the one performing real Islam?
Yeah, it's just weird. So anyway, let's go on. Family honor, ensuring land, property, and wealth remain within the family. Well, that's not very capitalistic, is it? That's more like it would be a far-right ideology.
Well, it is a very conservative ideology, isn't it?
Yeah. Preventing relationship considered to be unsuitable, for example, outside the specific ethnic racial group, helping relative or caste tribes member with residency and citizenship controlling unwanted behavior and sexuality, including perceived or real promiscuity or worries that their offsprings are gay. Let's censor this. Can we cut this off? Can we just pretend this isn't here? Because not all Muslims. It's just the author's opinion.
Being gay is I can't even think of how they would rationalize that as being. I mean, the person who's written this is clearly not a real Muslim. That's the answer. I can't think of any other rationalization for it.
And to provide a caretaker for a person with mental or physical disability. So basically, they would marry you off to take care of a retard.
Yeah.
This is just fuck me. This is fucked up beyond any.
Aren't you glad that you weren't born into this culture?
Oh no, it's for me. It could have swung out anyway. You know, it's all cultures are equal. Might have been that. Might have been this.
Yeah, you know, we're just being Islamophobes and bigots.
Yeah, I don't have any preferences.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
one thing I didn't realize, and I think a lot of people don't realize, is that Muslim men are circumcised, aren't they?
Are they?
Yeah.
I don't know that.
No, that's my point. I'm pretty sure they are. Hopefully someone in chat can confirm that, because it's just things I've been told, and so I've not gone and checked any Muslim men, but I hear that they get circumcised like the Jews.
How can they tell them apart? It's from the little hat on top of their head, right? That's how.
Yeah, and the fact that one of them's yelling Allahu Akbar.
No, but that you can do that as well. So, like, you can go undercover.
An undercover Muslim. That's a good idea.
Yeah, you can. A Muslim can't go undercover Jew because he has that weird beard that sticks out.
True.
Marriage without consent. In the Shafi and Hanbali school of thought, the majority of scholars are Shafi and Hanbali and scholar in the same word. What?
I don't know. Go on.
Religious scholars? They're not scholars then. They're believers. Okay.
Yeah, but they might be experts in Islam.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that they haven't gone for Renaissance. Out of the view that if a woman is married off without her consent, then the marriage contract is invalid because it is forbidden contract which cannot be validated. How will you prove that?
Well,
how will you prove that the woman's parents refused to talk with her for like months and said that they will disown her unless she marries this retard?
That's I was watching I can't remember who it was. It was some, Islamic fucking preacher. He's standing in front of a huge congregation of people going, well, the whole thing about needing 4 people to have witnessed the rape or something like that is never going to happen. So you don't really have to worry that this is the rule. And it's like, look, if it's never going to happen, then why have it as a rule? It's a silly rule, obviously.
Not to mention, like, the person who came up with this rule was probably a rapist. It's like, okay, how can I rape without being caught? Oh, I know. Like, ask for an unreasonable amount of witnesses.
Yeah. I'd have to find it again to give you the exact details. But it was just like, well, this is never going to happen. Then it's a silly thing to have, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's also the thing that I understand if the woman doesn't scream while she's being raped, let's say the guy puts a knife at her throat, and it's like, if you scream, I'll cut you. If she doesn't scream, then she gets stoned to death. To me, it boggles the mind. It's clearly an ancient tradition.
Yeah, clearly from a very, very long time ago.
Yeah, which is still from an equal culture, because all cultures are the same throughout time and throughout space.
There has never been any difference in value.
Yeah, I know.
I'm glad we can agree this.
If the son or daughter likes someone else, Ib Muhali Allah Habib, may Allah have mercy on him. So he died, I guess. What? Well, if you say may Allah have mercy on him, doesn't that mean he died?
Oh, I presume so.
Yeah,
I assume that this is like, no, is this guy some guy from the Quran, like from the time of Muhammad, or what?
I don't know. Either that or he's like really holy. He has a holy aura, +5.
One thing I found when reading the Quran, right, is that you get these sort of stories of individuals. They're meant to be like, from the time of Muhammad and the companions and whatnot, and they're supposed to be like exemplars. You're supposed to, oh wow, what an impressive guy. He did this, and then it'll be something totally mundane that almost everyone does. It's like, yeah, this, and he was held up as a great example of a person. It's like, this isn't like some sort of moral excellence. This is just normality for most people.
Can you give an example?
Not off the top of my head. I'd have to go and read through it again and find something. But that was just the impression I was left with. Just like, this is not impressing me. I mean, like, Jesus turning the other cheek, that is genuinely an impressive thing. If your enemy strikes you, you let them strike them again because you're the one saying, look, I don't do violence.
Yeah, because you're a cuck. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You're a cuck, yeah. But there is still moral excellence to that. And so, you know, it does have something that is quite laudable. But the Islamic stuff, it was all just like, well, I mean, you know, that's what you should do. You know, you shouldn't be going around doing these, you know, terrible things. And well done to the guy who didn't do the terrible things, I guess.
Which is really interesting. I just want to point out something else. Most people keep saying, well, arranged marriage is bad for the son. But no, because Ibn Muhammad al-Hafabi, may Allah have mercy on him, said, the parents have no right to force their son to marry someone he does not want.
Yeah. And not only that, the son can arrange a divorce by simply saying, I divorce you.
Really?
Yeah. The son can just declare the divorces. As far as I'm aware, I'm pretty sure that's the case. Like, I'm sure. I'd have to look it up, actually, now that I've said it. But I'm pretty certain that is the case. And it's just like, oh, well, that's nice. You know, so it's nice to have that kind of control like this.
Yeah, I understand. It's like he needs to say it 3 times. I divorce you, I divorce you, I divorce you.
Yeah, but he doesn't have to do anything. He probably has to pay a dowry back or something. Something archaic like that.
Shaikh ibn Taymiyya. Why did they have so many wives? Neither of the parents has the right to force their son to marry someone whom he does not want, and if he refuses, he is not sinning by disobeying them, because no one has the right to force him to eat food he finds off-putting when there is a food he wants to eat. And marriage is like that, and more so.
And that's how fucking important women are. They're basically like food you don't like, you know. You can have food you want.
He wrinkled his nose at that woman. It's like, bah. Son,
It's amazing, isn't it? It's just fucking amazing.
Yeah. Son, do you want to marry Fatima? Bah.
Yeah, no, I don't like Fatima. Well, I can't force you.
Come first, it's like food you don't want to eat. You don't want to eat Fatima, that's fine. Food that one is forced to eat is unpleasant for a short while, but the forced marriage lasts for a long time. I like the reason behind it.
Well, that's the thing, though, isn't it? Like, everything about Islam is designed. I mean, it is what the feminists say about the Western system. They say, well, it's all designed to benefit men. It's like, no, well, this is actually designed to benefit men. Yeah, I mean, we can actually point to something and say, look, that benefits men and not women.
It's by design. And what people don't understand, Islam is not a religion, it's a philosophy. And not only that, this is used as legislation in countries.
Yeah, this is, they draw their laws from this, you know.
Christianity has laws inspired from it, but this is like actual laws. This is like what people don't understand. A mosque is not the place of worship. They can worship anywhere else.
Christianity doesn't have laws. The laws that are in the Bible are Jewish.
No, but I mean like laws that come from Christianity. You know,
come from the sort of more secular tradition, like English common law is the basis of like practically all Western law, and that's not from Christianity.
No, for instance, if you marry 2 women, you go to jail. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But what I want to say is like a mosque is not a place of worship. It's also a court. The imam,
also a school, and
the imam has the power to become a judge over the people that come there. So like people actually go to imams in order to get quote unquote Sharia law. Even if the country doesn't allow Sharia law, if it's a very strong Muslim community, they go there and the imam is saying, well, you know, this divorce happens or this divorce doesn't happen. You know, he settles internal affairs.
Yeah.
And people obey the imam. So the imam uses this type of logic in order to... And I like the fact that it's like a forced marriage lasts for a long time and harms a person and he cannot leave it. I like that they only concern about the men, you know, the women, oh, well, you know, who cares if she's getting... As long as she's producing children.
They literally don't care.
Yeah, just fucking make kids. Why are you...
Mate, honestly, I get fucking annoyed when progressives defend Islam. It's just it's the most ridiculous thing in the world. Why? How could you find yourself defending this? You know?
I don't know. It really is shocking. But not only that, at least in other cultures, women actually get power because after their husbands, went to war and they died, usually the woman becomes the leader of the household. Or, like even if it's a king or someone like that, usually the woman has the key to the treasury because she's in charge of who gets hired, let's say what kind of servants get hired and whatnot. In Islam, like none of that. Like women have absolutely no power at all.
As far as I can tell, that seems to be true.
Concerning a young woman or a widow divorce, concerning a minor, according to Mufti Edesai, since Islam does not allow a minor to conduct business or make financial decisions for him or herself, a marital contract of a minor falls under the same premise. However, Islam does not give a father the right to use his children's wealth without their permission. So how can he be allowed to decide without the daughter's permission how her body, which is more important than her wealth, is to be used, especially when she disagrees? I don't think
it's progressive.
Yeah, it is progressive. It's
it's progressive for Islam. It's the norm for everyone else.
When the religion is so close to just allowing the father to use the daughter's body without permission, he will rationalize it in his head. He will say, it's for the best of her. I'm marrying her off to this older guy. You know what? But I don't care.
Good.
Yeah, he's a rich person. He's an influential person. It's going to be good for her.
He doesn't use a ruler thicker than his thumb when he beats his wives. There are so many good reasons that women just shut up and accept it.
Doesn't beat her in front of the kids.
Yeah, doesn't hit her in the face.
Yeah, he takes her to her mother and beats her there.
Honestly, I can't believe it actually has rules for beating your wife.
I'm curious if other religions have that. I mean, I know about the Greek religion. I know about the Norse. I know about Christianity.
Well, I've never seen anything that literally codifies.
Yeah, a manual.
A
how-to guide. 10 easy steps.
Yeah, no, that's
10 ways you didn't know they were allowed when it comes to beating your wife. Concerning a young woman or a widow divorce, Abu Hurairah reported that the Prophet said, a previously married woman may not be married without her command, and the never married woman may not be married without her permission. And permission for her is to remain silent.
Saying that, though, to be fair, the ancient Greeks were very big on women shutting their mouths. Aristotle, and probably Plato as well, I'd have to look it up. He definitely says, an excellent woman is a woman who is not talked about and doesn't talk. So it's okay.
No. But what they're saying here is if you beat a woman senseless to the point where she can't speak, and you take her in front of an imam, and you ask, do you want to marry this man? And she remains silent, then that's consent.
Yes. Yeah. Silence is consent, yes.
She needs to be like, no. Okay, that's fine. I'll bring her up next week. Apparently, I have to beat her a bit more. It's quite hard to get that spot of beating her between life and death, because I don't want to kill her. I'm not a necrophiliac. Allah forbid. I just want to beat her to the point where she can't talk anymore.
When she just shuts her bitch mouth.
Yeah, shuts her bitch mouth. The exegesis of this prophetic tradition is that if she does not speak up, that means that she is giving consent. But why aren't feminists having a house over this? They should be
they should be flipping their shit. I mean, I doubt any of them have read the Quran.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem. They think, and this is what I honestly believe, that the progressive who support Islam, they believe Islam is very similar to Christianity. It's pretty much the Bible with the same God, with the same thing, and just some things are different.
No, just practiced by brown people. So
practiced by brown people. Yeah, it is pretty much like if you translate Allah, you translate to God, and then you have the same religion.
That probably is what they think. And I mean, the thing is, these people are very, very good at lying to themselves. They will lie to themselves about a lot of things. And I think the things that Islam mandates for women is certainly going to come into that category.
Honestly, women are less than property. They are viewed as less than chattel.
Yeah. Women viewed as chattel. All right, Matt Binder. I need Twitter, actually. I haven't trolled him in ages. I forgot about Matt Binder.
Why, Sargon, do you troll people?
Oh, a lot of the time, yeah.
Oh my god.
A lot of the time I'll just ask them an uncomfortable question. I'll find someone like Razor Aslan and then find something terrible in Muslims are. I'll be like, is this anything to do with Islam? Or something like that.
Progressive's worst nightmare. The question.
Yeah, an uncomfortable question. It really is as well. But Naked Ape, actually saying that Naked Ape was doing a Draw Muhammad gay competition the other day. Oh. And so if anyone wants to, tweet him a picture of a gay Muhammad, that's a great idea.
Yeah, if you want to get him decapitated, go for it.
Yeah, exactly. He's gay, so they'd want to kill him anyway.
Yeah, but it's like you're mixed in the crowd. You don't stand up. But the moment you're the gay with the Draw Muhammad, then you stand up and.
Yeah, he's going to get himself killed, and not just for being gay.
Yeah. Then it's not going to be an LGBT issue. It's going to be that he's a disrespectful bigot and just didn't know.
It wouldn't be an LGBT issue if a gay guy gets killed by a Muslim.
It's Muslims' response for Islamophobia. They're.
Oh yeah, it's a natural thing.
It's not, they're like a force of nature. You can't.
Basically, they're a little better than animals. You can't really blame them for what they do, and that's
no. They're even like earthquake. You can't.
Yeah, exactly. You can't question it. And this is the opinion of progressives in America. This isn't my opinion. My opinion is they should be held to account for what they do. But I'm not a racist. No,
they're a force of nature. They're a natural disaster waiting to happen.
Natural disaster.
This is rich. I can't. A wali, close male relative, is a command executor in the case of the previously married woman, and is a permission seeker in the case of a never married woman. So even if your husband dies, even if your father dies, still they will need to find a man that can talk on behalf of the woman, because obviously she can't talk for herself. She's stupid. What the fuck does she know? Yeah. I like the fact that her place is not even in the kitchen. Like, her place is not to be at all. It's like...
The place is just to be silent and sit in the corner.
Yeah, it's decided to sit in the corner
until I need a wet hole.
Yeah.
And it really does piss me off. Actually, I just this whole shit, and then you've got dipshits going, well, it's not that bad. No, it is that bad. Look at it.
And this is, by the way, I need to remind people, this is in the defense of Islam.
Yeah.
These are the arguments that they're looking to defend it.
Yeah.
To make
That's
someone like
point.
Yeah, to make someone like me read it and go like, you know what? It's not so bad. It's like, if I think about it, maybe if I give it a little bit more room, I could get used to it.
Yeah, that is a really great point, and something we should really highlight. This is saying that Islam isn't so bad. I mean, just
man, I don't understand why.
Is there any more, or should we go on to the next one?
There is more. Oh, relevant hadith. So this is like the extra thing you need to read. Right?
The hadith, for anyone not aware, the hadiths are basically companion pieces written that were apparently things he said, but were collated by a scholar hundreds of years after his death, who cut out. There were like something like 10,000 of them or something, and he cut them down to only 1,000 or something like that. So this is his judgment on what Muhammad is likely to have said.
Would it be accurate to call them fan fiction of the Quran?
No, well, maybe
like sequels.
Honestly, I don't think there's any reliability to anything in the hadith. You can't. I mean, if there's any reliability in the Quran, that's dubious, and the hadith is a lot less likely to have been things he said.
I see. So it's basically like the Salamandrion for Lord of the Rings. It's like some backstory. Yeah. Kansa bint Kizam. I can't. No, just don't make me pronounce this. My father married me to his nephew, and I did not like this match. So I complained to the messenger of Allah. He said to me, "Accept what your father has arranged." I said, "I do not wish to accept what my father has arranged." I like how they're talking like they're 4-year-olds.
Yeah.
Like all these conversations, like accept what your father has arranged.
I love that they're having a Socratic dialogue, though. In like imitation of like actual productive dialogues.
Yeah. He said, then this marriage is invalid. Go and marry whomever you wish. Wow,
Oh.
that's so easy to persuade the prophet from like from a point where he didn't like you need to accept what your father has arranged. I will not accept. Oh well then. In another version, she went to the messenger of Allah and he annihilated the marriage, narrated by Al-Bukhari 4845. And it was narrated from Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him. Why do you need to mention this? I mean,
it's called conditioning, constant reinforcement.
Like Allah this, Allah be that a virgin came to the prophet and told him that her father had married her off against her objections. The prophet gave her the choice. According to the scholars, you should also not fear your parents' dua against you or their being angry with you, because that is a sinful dua.
How is that pronounced? Is it D-A-W-A-H?
No, D-U''A.
Right, okay.
Which Allah will not accept from them. So basically what you're saying is that, well, if your parents are beating the shit out of you, you should still refuse it, because know that Allah is displeased with your parents.
Yeah. It's not for you to judge.
It's not for you to judge. Insa Allah, unless you are transgressing against them and not giving them their other rights.
What other rights? What?
I don't know. It's ambiguous. Because it is permissible for you to marry without adhering to their wishes, you will not be sinning or doing wrong. So this is like mostly, you can get beaten by your parents, but know that you will go to heaven, because that's okay.
God wants you to get beaten by your parents. See?
God wants you to get beaten. Another misconception is that the bride and the groom are not allowed to see each other before the marriage, and this is somehow Islamic. The man has permission to see her face before agreeing.
Of course he does.
The man has permission to see her face before agreeing to marry, as the messenger of Allah, Shallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, said, "Go and look at her, the woman you are considering marrying, because this will help you and your time together will be strengthened. If our eyes are the path of our heart, how can the one who made us forbid us from looking at the person who will become the most intimate part of our lives?"
Amazing reasoning.
Amazing reasoning. I'm actually wondering, this might be like one of the advantages in living in a Muslim society. Like, imagine you never see how women look before. Imagine that moment when you actually get to look at your loved one for the first time.
I imagine that ankles are a really big fetish in Muslim society.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to be able to look at a woman for the first time, that might, unless she's like an ugly
might make
one,
it a bit rapey. Do you think?
Might make it really rapey, but unless she's like a really ugly one, and it's like, okay, please put that shit back on.
A friend of mine lived over there for a few years, and he was like, "You can tell which ones the attractive ones are by their eyes." And I'm like, "Oh God, I hope that's true." For Muslim men in general, actually, I hope that's true.
Well, apparently it doesn't have to be, because it's like, well, I'm going to look at you now, take that shit off, okay, put it back on, and go home.
That's true.
And it'd be like, savage. If
okay,
you are
yeah. Oh no, go on, finish.
Some advice for someone being forced to get married. If you are
so just in case you are being forced. Not that Islam wants you to get forced or anything, but I mean, it's a possibility, isn't it? So,
yeah, if this is unfortunately happening to you, there are ways to 6 quick steps. If you are facing circumstances where you are getting married against your will, speak up. You are not your parents' property, especially if you're 5-year-old. You know this. Don't try and ruin your life or your future spouse's life's.
The resurrection? Plural. I don't know.
No, I think it's like future spouses, plural. Anyway,
okay.
Yeah, sure, he may not even know that you do not want to get married and will have to suffer through a loveless marriage for the rest of his or her life. You don't marry someone for your parents' sakes, for your family's sakes, or for anyone's sakes. For some people, it's actually a turn on. It's like, oh, she doesn't want to. Oh, I'm going to prove to her that I can do it.
But that's something we can agree with. You don't do it for someone else's sake. You do it for your sake. Okay.
Yeah, she will find out that sex can be very enjoyable, depend on which side of the Muslim cock you are on.
Depending on how much of your clit they cut off.
Oh, well, that as well. Well, it doesn't matter. If you're on one side of the Muslim cock, you can cut off the whole clit for all it cares. It's the other side of the Muslim cock. Right? Do I make you uncomfortable with my jokes?
No.
Okay. You should actively and patiently do the following. Very politely show your parent guardians the relevant ayah in the Quran and refer to them to the Sunnah Hadith opinion of scholars that Islam do not accept a forced marriage and give them a person the choice in regards to nikah.
Nikah?
Nikah.
I don't know what that is.
No, I don't know, but basically it says Dad, it says right here you can't do this shit. Dad, what are you doing? Oh, you have like some debts to pay to my cousin. But it says in the Quran, Dad, read this shit.
That's the problem with having like this overriding text, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everything has focused on it.
Again, the problem isn't necessarily that it's with the entire culture, the philosophy. It's like the moment you have family debts to someone else, do you think they will care what does it say in the Quran, or will they try to justify and find mental loopholes to?
Yeah. Okay, let's go on to the next one. We've talked about this one quite a lot.
Ask your circle of mature. So next article or?
Oh well, yeah. Let's go on to the next one.
Oh, and most importantly is to pray to Allah.
Oh, duh.
Yeah,
Jesus,
divine
I didn't think that was the most important thing.
I don't know. I thought like most important thing would be to run away.
Yeah, they say the word Allah like every 5 seconds. I assumed that we were praying to Allah. That was just a given.
Oh, this is nice. Daily Caller, professional educator grades showing up on time are a form of white supremacy.
Go on.
Okay. Is the Daily Caller.
Yeah, they're a right-wing site, but they're not like. I don't think they're too crazy. I've not had too much of a problem with them.
Man, I hate it when I see right-wing sites exaggerating things or putting a spin on things. It's like, what are you doing? You are in the right. You don't have to spin things. You're just losing credibility at this point.
Yeah, you screw yourself when you do this. You literally. This was same with the Leave campaign for Brexit. I saw them like they'd be like exaggerating things. I'm like, why are you doing this? The way things are is bad enough. For the love of God.
Okay. The Daily Caller. So, professional educator. Grades showing up on time are a form of white supremacy.
Marvelous.
A professional educator, consultant, and teacher trained argued at the White Privilege Conference. I can't even.
That is something that exists in case anyone isn't aware. They have conferences about white privilege.
That great teachers must also be liberal activists, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And described in detail her goal for destroying the white supremacist nature of modern education. Don't get me wrong, I'm all against modern education.
But not because it's white supremacy.
But not because it's white supremacy. Mate, have you looked at a high school recently? Because I went to one and...
Useless, yeah.
No. There is one next to my... to university, and there's like this gigantic fence all around it. There's bars on the window, and there's security cameras everywhere. And this is the standard, at least in my country. I don't know in other people's countries, but I understand to go in the hall, you need a bathroom pass and whatnot. Adults would not work under these conditions.
No, of course.
And yet, for some reason, it's okay to send kids, and then you're wondering why your kid is skipping school.
I had no idea it was like that.
No, there are video cameras in most of them, that's for sure. The fence is that they are saying is for the kids' protection because they're playing ball and they don't want the ball to go over the fence, which is just retarded.
Yeah, so you need security cameras, barbed wire fences. Yeah, totally, one justifies the other, definitely.
Yeah, they rationalize it every time, and I'm really curious. I want people to tell me on Twitter if it's the same in their country or not. If high schools are almost identical to jails, like you have absolutely no rights, the teachers decide absolutely everything, and if possible, they're also fenced up and make sure that no one leaves there. So Heather Hackman operates Hackman Consulting Group and was formerly a professor of multicultural education.
Jesus Christ.
At Minnesota What's wrong with multicultural, mate? He knows more about many cultures. He knows how to quote from the Quran to tell a Muslim that he's not allowed to arrange a marriage. Multicultural. At Minnesota St. Cloud State University, where she taught future teachers. Oh, they're multiplying now. On Friday, Hackman was given a platform at the White Privilege Conference to deliver a workshop with the lengthy title, "No Freedom Unless We Call Out the Wizard Behind the Curtain," critically addressing the corrosive effects of whiteness in teacher education and professional development. See, isn't this conflicting with their whole cultural appropriation thing? Because like universities are a white culture thing.
The problem is you have to understand that whiteness doesn't necessarily refer to race.
Oh, it's a behavior.
That's the innate. This is the problem, right? These people are racist, without a doubt, and so they tend to racialize things that are not actually about race. And I know it sounds really counterintuitive, but whiteness to them is a way of doing things. And what they actually mean when they say whiteness, we say meritocracy.
Oh, so you can have like black suffering of whiteness as well.
Yeah, that's why Barack Obama is the face of the white supremacy.
I see.
It's because they're not talking about white supremacy. They're talking about meritocracy and just a sensible way of running a civilization for efficiency, you know. And so this is why black people can also be part of whiteness.
That makes so much sense.
Exactly, that's what it means. But the thing is, these people are so fucking racial. They think, oh, well, white people invented it, and therefore this is whiteness. It's like, really? You really think that there aren't any kind of people of color around the world who are like, maybe if we get the best people to do the job, we'll get a good result? No. People of color are retards, and that's what progressives think.
Yeah, that's why they think the Japanese are white.
Yeah, because the Japanese operate under a meritocracy.
Yeah, and that's why they are okay with Muslims, because they don't have a meritocracy.
No. Honestly, it's exactly their fucking thoughts. And I only know this because this is the way they describe things like racialization, right? The racialization is not about race. And so you would say, why would you call it racialization? Well, I can tell you, it's because they're racists. And they can't get race off their mind. They can think of nothing but race. And so they call things by misnomers, frankly.
This is interesting. So according to this intellectual, modern education is hopelessly tainted by white supremacy and the white imperial gaze.
Of course it is.
You're right. I mean, if you'd replace white with black, black this, black that, black, you would start to realize that maybe this person is a racist.
Yeah, but not only that, it's if you replace whiteness with the word democratic or something like that, you would get a much more accurate representation of what they actually mean in your head, because they think to them the word has a different meaning. Yeah,
it does. You're right. They're cultural Marxists, and I know you avoid this word, but if you believe it's a conspiracy theory or it's tainted,
I don't think it's a conspiracy theory. And you are right, that's what they are. I just don't like using the term because it's become a dog whistle.
We need to get it back. I really think, and you can prove to people. Go to Google Scholar and look for cultural Marxism.
Do you want to show your screen and just quickly do that, just to demonstrate?
Yeah, just to show people that it's not a conspiracy theory, because this is the argument that they use, right? Because look, if I go on normal Google and I look for cultural Marxism, right?
You're not sharing your screen.
I'm not sharing my screen. Oh my God, why am I not sharing my screen? Okay, I'm sharing my screen now. Oops. So if I go on Google and I look for cultural Marxism, right? Can you still hear me? Oh, you muted your mic.
No, I'd muted my mic because I was lighting a cigarette. Yeah, go on. I can hear you.
All right. You don't get a lot of articles on cultural Marxism, and you get like Wikipedia, and if you go to it, it's redirected to Frankfurt School, and it calls cultural Marxism a conspiracy theory. Yeah. But if you go on Google Scholar, which is a search engine for academic papers,
it's really useful. If you want to know what the feminists are going to come out with next year, go to Google Scholar.
And then you look for cultural Marxism, like you find loads of papers, like thousands of them.
Yeah.
And they date all the way back from 1983, like thesis on cultural Marxism. The theory and interpretation of cultures is today embroiled in the institutional crisis afflicting the humanities.
Well, do you want to grab that one up and have a look at it? Because it might be worth, just reading the abstract at least,
I don't know if it allows you to read the abstract. I think it's the entire paper.
Oh, just the intro then.
So the theory and interpretation of culture is today embroiled in the institutional crisis afflicting the humanities. No single political or intellectual response is adequate, for the causes of the situation are multiple to develop unevenly. These causes include the national and international economy, the ideological and political tendency now predominant in American society, and the transformations of cultural sphere itself, which has completely altered during the last century the context and significance of the intellectual undertaking called humanities. So basically, this person, I think, is a bit worried on the fact of cultural Marxism gaining a foothold in humanities.
Yeah.
Every intellectual project within the contemporary university bends to pressure coming from the society as a whole. These pressures tend to manifest themselves as external, unreflected necessity. The more these pressures intensify, the more illusionary academic freedom becomes. For the real freedom of thought is felt only when thought erupts against unreflected necessity, whether the imperative of the economic and moral order to the routines of everyday life within the educational and public institutions themselves. The retreat of intellectuals from political and social conflict exacerbates the power that prevailing conditions of politics society has over them.
That analysis isn't necessarily wrong, but there's a reason that Marxism, shouldn't be a massively popular ideology. It's got inherent flaws.
Yeah, and it's written in 1983, by the way. It's not something written today.
No, today, if you go to a more recent one, it's become a standard part of Western academia.
Yeah,
it's just like, good God.
The humanities is completely taken across.
Yeah.
And look here, cultural Marxism and cultural studies. So people who claim that this is a conspiracy theory, just show them this.
Yeah, it's not a conspiracy theory. It's an academic thing.
Yeah, and make sure you have archives of this before they get deleted.
Yeah.
Marxism and law. There was one that's really interesting that points out, I think it's like cultural Marxism taking over Britain after Second World War.
That was the top one, wasn't it, on the previous page?
I don't recall, but I read about. Oh yeah,
cultural
Marxism in post-war Britain, and it goes and it tells exactly how it happened. And this is written in 1997. No, it's published in 1997. I'm curious when it was written, because it's really important to point out that all these things were happening way before our time.
Yeah.
In the course of writing this book, I have incurred numerous intellectual debts. It was originally written as a desertion of the University of Chicago. So let's go to the introduction. In Marxism and the Interpretation of Culture, a collection of papers given at 1983 conference, the editors Lawrence Grossborg and Kerry Nelson, probably Jewish, argued that Marxism is at the center of an explosive trend in the social sciences, and that humanities that cuts across traditional boundaries and take the entire field of cultural practices as a subject. The editors suggest that Marxism is ideally suited for the text because it has long been, at least implicitly, involved in breaking down the barriers between these domains, making each of necessity of sight interpretative activity, by politicizing interpretative and cultural practices, by looking at the economic determinations of cultural production, by radically historicizing our understanding of signifying practices from political discourses to art, to beliefs, to social practices, from the discourse of psychology to the discourse of economics, and of course by continuing to revise and enlarge a body of theory with multidisciplinary implications.
Yeah,
this is shuddering. This is like what they're saying basically. If you didn't follow, is that they use the Marxism thought in order to criticize every aspect of society and dismantle everything, from economics all the way to beliefs, all the way to how people do art. So if you look at today, right, the courses of art, video games, comic books, TV series, all of them are criticized from the cultural Marxist perspective. Economics, Same thing. Social practices, beliefs like religion, heavily criticized.
Yeah, it's a way of just deconstructing civilization, frankly.
Yeah. It's like economics, like Google. Why doesn't it hire more women? Why don't you have diversity in your company? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that?
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm all for genuine intellectual inquiry into these things, but this is my problem with postmodernism. It's the idea that everything is equal, therefore, if you can categorize it, then you can dismiss it. It's like, no, some things are there for reasons.
Yeah. And not only that, like they use Marx as if it's the Bible, and everything that Marx said can't be criticized and is right.
Yeah.
While Marx and Nietzsche are the two ones that I see they love the most.
Do they like Nietzsche?
They like Nietzsche.
I would have thought they'd have been quite anti-Nietzsche, wouldn't they?
No, they're for Nietzsche when it fits their purpose.
Oh, well, of course they are. All right, so we carry on with the article then.
Yeah. So, oh, this is interesting. The long title masks a simple thesis on Hackman's part. Modern education is hopelessly tainted by white supremacy and the white imperial gaze. And the solution is to train prospective teachers in college to be activists as well as pedagogues. So they're asking for indoctrination.
Yeah,
that's what they're doing.
They're asking them to, try and
get them out there
on others. That's what it is.
Yeah, it is against like Islam, where every teacher must also be an imam. So I don't see the difference.
No, methodologically, it is the same.
Yeah, Muslim kids are being taught by imams.
Yeah, of course. The idea of criticizing Islam is going to be haram.
Haram. In fact, Hackman argued teachers shouldn't even bother teaching if they aren't committed to promoting social justice in school. This is like, wow.
Hell, that is a strong statement, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, what if social justice? And by the way, what is social justice? It's mob justice. People with pitchforks, people with torches.
Yeah, it's
people
who
used to lynch black people. The kind of people who killed a woman for allegedly burning the Quran, and then they found out, oh, whoops! By the way,
man, that was tell people about that, because that was a horrible story.
Yeah, I think there was a woman that was accused of burning the Quran. So social justice came into place, and got the woman from police custody because she was escorted by the police to jail. They managed to get her, and they lynched her. They lynched her. They
beat her to death in the street, didn't they?
They beaten her to death to the street, and then they set fire to her corpse.
Yeah. On the accusation that she had burnt a Quran.
Yeah, and she manages to get back to the police, but the police couldn't protect her. They stole her a second time. So it was just social justice. 1, 2, 3. I want a BBC.
Yeah. It's terrifying shit, man. It's just like
not all Muslims. No, it's not terrifying. It's their culture.
Yeah. God, you're such an Islamophobe, V.
I'm not. I'm saying that it's their culture. How you're the Islamophobe? Well, you fail to understand. You're like, oh, look at me, Britain, great culture ever. We brought culture to other people. No.
Just because we invented the concept of human rights doesn't make us better than them. Let them beat a woman to death on the accusation that she burned a Quran. I mean, how is it any different?
That's interesting. You did invent the human rights.
No.
They didn't come from the ether or something like that, no?
No, they came from centuries of struggle against aristocracy and tyranny.
I thought Stalin and Karl Marx invented human rights, but apparently...
Well, you see, in the new history books...
in the new history books, yeah. I want to read them, because I'm waiting for the new version. I don't like the old one, so... Yeah,
exactly. The new history books will have it all correct. The right thing will be in them. The wrong thing will be taken out. It's just the way.
And language needs to be more simplified. Yeah.
It's sanitized, I think, is a word.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of calling it racism, we call it affirmative action. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So we're going to be very concerned to make sure nobody's being racist with any hate facts from the past.
Absolutely, the past.
So that's not going to fly.
Going to be like Hitler dolls in Germany. They don't sell. Education is not about the mere reproduction of knowledge, Heckman said. Education is the practice of freedom. And as a result, we have to teach students to become activists as well as teachers.
Yeah, I mean, being educated is certainly a step along the road to freedom. That's correct. But, like, teaching them to... this is my problem with it all as well, is that basically they're putting shackles in their minds, you know, where you've got, like, who's the MSNBC fucking host who's like, I sit there with a picture of slaves in the field when I think about the word hard work.
Yeah, I know who you mean. Yeah.
What are you fucking on about? Oh my God. Who has convinced her that she actually needs... To understand hard work, she needs to have a picture of black people enslaved to remind her of her position in the world. I mean, for fuck's sake, man.
Yeah. No, she said you can't say hard work. Hard work is only picking cotton. That's it.
Yeah, that's the only hard work. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else, like building a bridge or working in the sewer, that's easy. You're not picking cotton.
Building skyscrapers is really easy. I mean, you know that picture you see of the workmen, like, sat there just on a beam eating their lunch? That's not hard work.
Is he picking cotton? No, shut the fuck up.
Exactly. There's no cotton involved. And they're not black.
Yeah. But my favorite thing is that, you know, when I got an education, I was always taught that people should think for themselves. Like, here are the facts, you know, these are the pros, these are the cons.
Yeah.
You make up your mind. No, it's not like that. Now it's like this marks, this is the only way.
We have made up your mind for you.
Yeah, we're telling you how to believe. Creating
that's what I hate most about it as well.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's like I keep seeing comments from Twitter from my followers, and they're saying like, look, I'm at a high school and I had the wrong thing, and the teacher really gave me a bad grade for it.
Oh mate, I get emails like that all the time.
Yeah,
and I just reply, just do what they say. We'll
do what they say, and you know, just
we'll try and fix it politically. You know that you can't do it from where you are at the moment. So
see, that is like one point, but I also tell them, like, if you have more people who think like you, then stand up. Like, she will not be able to punish the entire class.
That's true, but you're never going to get an entire class doing that, I don't think.
Well, or at least one fourth of the class, you know.
I mean, if it's not going to damage your grades, if you can, you know, if it's just going to get you a detention or something, then sure, if you want to do it, I would probably do it just to make a point.
Yeah.
But if you're going to end up failing because of it, don't do it. It's not...
I would be just really passive aggressive about it. It's like I would say, yeah, I think that Karl Marx is right, but I would honestly like for a smaller state, less government.
I would be constantly bringing them up on anything they say. Any slip, if they're like, okay, girls on this side, boys on that side, but like, that's transphobic, miss. No, yeah, can't do that. No. I would just be using it as a stick to beat them. It's like,
yeah,
no,
but
this is the future you chose, you know?
Yeah, you need to be made very sure that they don't find you trolling. It's like you really need to act like you're serious, you know? Because the moment they find you trolling, they go like, oh, you know, you're just saying this to piss us off.
Yeah, but I'd be like, yeah, but you're still being transphobic. So it doesn't matter what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's more effective if they think you're legit.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Creating educators who are proper activists means training them to not only encourage diversity. How do you encourage diversity? I mean, if it's there, it's there. But why would you want to encourage it?
Trans black people?
I don't know. But also to engage. Oh my God, transgenders went batshit insane over trans black people. They're really trans racist phobic.
Black people.
So there's a systemic oppression, she says, is pervasive in the entire educational system. So if the educational system is made of people like you, and you know that you have a foothold, and at the same time you say that it's filled with systemic oppression, then you just called yourself a systemic oppression, you moron. Honestly, they just don't think. I honestly think that
they don't need internal consistency in their ideology.
No. They parrot things. It's like, okay, I'm going to put this line next to this line because it seems that it makes sense. It's like they don't create. You know, when you make a YouTube video, you're like using a pen and you're writing on a piece of paper. When they're making an argument, it's like they use jigsaw puzzles and they try to fix the jigsaw puzzles in a certain way with things that are pre-created in order to try to create this structural argument.
Everything has to fit this single framework. And if it doesn't fit, then it has to be denied, basically.
Yeah, it's like communism. In Romania, we had this we called it the wooden language, because it were phrases that would constantly repeat over and over. And this is how you do indoctrination, you know, repeating a lie over and over. like institutional racism. How many times did you not hear it?
I can't even tell you how many times.
White patriarchal society.
White supremacy.
White supremacy. And you have to throw imperialism in there as well. And
Any bad sounding buzzword.
Yeah. Buzzword. Yeah, that's exactly that's it. The racial narrative of white tends to be like this: rugged individual, honest, hardworking, disciplined, rigorous, successful. Utterly bad, horrible, like hardworking.
Terrible fucking attributes there. Why would anyone want them?
Well, why would you want to be hardworking when you can get welfare? Just fuck like 6 kids and then get welfare. Discipline. Why you need discipline? Just shit on a picture of Donald Trump. That's the way. That's also artsy.
Do for you.
Yeah. By the way, there was this case that I covered recently with a woman who wanted to take a piss on a Donald Trump sign, and the owner of the sign came out with a gun. So she gets panicked. Right? She calls the police. The police comes, arrests the guy, confiscates his weapon, and then lets him go. But no one confiscated her for doing vandalism.
Yeah.
And she admits that she wanted to do vandalism. So she says, and I quote, why is this guy threatening me in front of my children? So I'm like, hold on a bit. You wanted to take a piss on a Donald Trump sign in front of your children?
Yeah, that's gross. Can you imagine your parents acting like that? You'd be like, what are you doing?
Mommy, like, can't you hold it in? Take the sign to the bathroom at least, for fuck's sake.
What? Why are you embarrassing me in public because you hate Donald Trump?
Jesus. Not only that, there's something of even funnier on Twitter. Donald Trump is holding another speech into another state that has guns, more legislation with guns and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I see people that are from the progressive circle going, I wanted to go there and protest. However, they have guns. And I like, so translation, I wanted to go there and do vandalism. However,
I wanted to go and cause a nuisance of myself.
Yeah. However, those people can defend themselves.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's cultural Marxism 101, like all bunch weak ass pussies.
Yeah.
Not that the alt-right are any different, but still. I needed to trigger people a bit. I like triggering. The racial narrative of white tends to be like this: a rugged individual, honest, blah, blah, blah. She said, and so then the narrative of US public education: individual assessments, competition, outcome over process. I care more about your grades than how you are doing.
You mean education?
Yeah, I mean, if you want a successful society, you need to have competition. You can't hire everyone as an engineer, right? You only have one job available. It's a finite number of jobs. So you want the best engineer that you can hire to do the job.
Not only that, you want to promote a culture of excellence.
Yeah.
You want people to get good.
Scrub.
Exactly.
I mean, think about it. These people always think about like abstract things. It's like, oh, who are you going to hire as the PR person, or who are you going to hire? Imagine you're the person flying your plane, the nigger flying your plane. If he is not the best nigger for the job, then are you going to be okay when he crashes your plane? And you're going to be, you know what? I don't care, because at the end of the day,
at least we were diverse.
At least we were diverse, and at least they didn't hire the best person for the job to enforce that white supremacy imperialism shit.
Yeah, that's exactly it. They don't want the best person for the job. They want someone diverse. And it's like, okay, well, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, they wanted to do this in Sweden. I'm not sure if they did it or not. They wanted to punish companies for not having half men, half women.
Really?
So, yeah. And like, think about it. Just think about it. No, but think about it. Let's say, because there's two things wrong with this. Let's say you have 50% of men hired already, yeah? And the next person that comes from the job is extremely qualified, but he's a man, so you can't hire him. At the same time, imagine that you have like 47% women, and you really need those 30% before the end of the year, because otherwise you get punished. You get a fine. So now you're desperate for women. You're starving to get women. It's like, Jesus. And there's this woman that's coming, and she's really underprepared. She's really horrible for the job. You're going to have to hire her.
Yeah. I mean, that's literally, you're going to have to do it.
Yeah. And it's like, how is this going to work? Do you want hospitals to function like this? You know, do you want...
Wait, these people are idiots. They seem to think that society will continue functioning as it does if we don't carry on doing things the way we do things. And it's like, it's the stupidest mindset I've ever heard anyone in anything ever. It's like, no, if we do things differently, things will change. Idiots.
Yeah.
Fucking mongoloids. Obviously they're going to change. You know, they're going to change for the worst because we're trying to do things as well as we can do them now. I mean, we're literally trying to be the best we can be.
Why do they think like white imperialism works? It's almost like they think only the whites have tried it. That's why no one else thought about conquering other people.
Honestly, I think that maybe they just think that white people are just fucking amazing.
No, it's like one day one white person stood, you know, and was like, you know what? We should conquer other people. We would get more land. We would be able to plant more crops. Yeah. You know, the people we conquer, we can enslave.
Daisies over there. So, you know, they've got no weapons at all. They're defenseless. You know, they're just brown people. That's how superior the white man is.
Oh my God. And I like the fact that they don't realize that Islam is actually an imperialist ideology.
Oh, God. I mean, it started with empires. You know, that was the whole point.
Well, the traits listed may simply be regarded as positive traits for success in the modern world. Hackman describes them as specific cultural traits chosen and emphasized to favor whites to the detriment of non-white groups.
Right. Now, there we are. There is the racism right there. Okay. The culture of excellence with the whiteness that we're trying to cultivate is detrimental to non-whites. Now, there's only one way to interpret that, and that is non-whites are not capable of being clever.
They're niggers.
Not even the niggers. It's like we're talking everyone, mate. Mexicans, we're talking Japanese. You know, anyone.
The beaners, the chinks. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, exactly, mate. They're all inferior to white people according to SJWs.
They are. They're not capable. I mean, sure, you can find some examples where a black guy manages to become president, but honestly, it's
what difference does that make? I mean, what, you know, that's just like
he's not an SJW.
Conspiring to keep black people down by bringing one of them up and making him in charge. Not sure how that works, but you know, that doesn't matter.
But this is the thing that scares me: who are forced to assimilate. What? Honestly, these people with multiculturalism, they hate assimilation. It's like it's the most worst thing imaginable. And the thing that I don't understand is, like, if you're immigrating to another country, right? If I would come to Britain, why would I still act like a Romanian faggot? Because I'm now...
you wouldn't have to integrate. I don't understand, like, the idea that, like, oh, I'm going to go to this country where they do things differently, but I'm going to do things the way I do things because fuck this country. It's like, why did you go there?
Yeah, why did you go there? Yeah. And then it's also, like, forced to assimilate between races. Like, not being racist means you understand that all people are the same, but you are saying that black people are different than whites.
Yeah, you're saying they're incapable of integrating into a society that promotes excellence.
But to be honest, I would fail to integrate in Saudi Arabia. You know, I would never be able to.
They don't promote excellence, you know.
Yeah, well, they are a rich country, you know.
Yeah, definitely, they can afford to be nepotistic.
They can afford to be nepotistic, yeah, because they literally pull money from the ground. You know, but if they wouldn't have oil, they would be probably one of the poorest countries in the world.
Man, I tell you what, they will be. And when like, you know, we develop like proper, you know, electric cars that are as good as oil-powered cars and stuff like this, man, Saudi Arabia is fucked. Just
you still need oil for other things like industry and shit like that.
Yeah, you do, but the amount is just going to plummet.
Yeah,
you know? It's going to be like absurd. And I mean, obviously that's the end of their economy, basically. And so,
yeah, if you want to fuck Saudi Arabia, if you want to fuck Saudi Arabia, just go on a bicycle.
Yeah, invent an electric car.
Or go on a bicycle.
Yeah. I mean, feminists could be promoting electric cars as women's rights activism.
You know, United States economy would also fall because they don't have their dollar in gold, I understand. They have their dollar in gold.
I imagine that there'd be American car companies that would be producing these electric cars. And
No, but
there is a large portion of the American economy that is based on oil, so it would be a problem.
no, it's their dollar is backed in oil instead of gold.
I'm not sure. Let's not go into it because I'm not.
Okay, let's not go. PV, you're an idiot. You're the more than you don't know.
No. I'm not saying you're an idiot. I'm saying I don't.
No. The people on Twitter.
Yeah.
Hackman's natural solution then is to train teachers to move away from all these aspects of white privilege in education. She routinely, but wait, who is Hackman? Why is she
the author of the paper?
Yeah, but it's like, why should people listen to her?
In the paper.
No, why should people listen to her? Like, why should we give a shit? What are her achievements? What are her accomplishments? Why?
Well, she's managed to determine that black people are inferior. So
yeah, this is what I don't understand. It's like these people coming from like this authority figure, like they're the prophets or someone, and everyone is like, yeah, we should do this. It's just philosophy. She doesn't have any research to show that
she's not proven this objectively or anything.
Yeah, she's not proving it objectively. So why is everyone like listening to her?
Because it confirms their biases, I think. It's what they want to hear.
She routinely touted the benefits of collective assessments.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Let's not assess people on their individual merits. Let's have collective assessments. That's a fabulous idea. That's exactly what I'd expect from a fucking Marxist.
Measuring students' learning at the class level instead of determining whether each student knows the material. Learning at the class level. Amazing. Fucking hell, man! Let me tell you something. When I was at the medicine university, right, and you would have this teacher like talking with the entire class, and she would ask questions. Everyone would know the answer because, like, if you don't know, someone else answers. But the moment she went to individual students, she would find out that, well, despite the fact that when at the class level everyone knows the answer, the individual students don't know the answers, and it's usually like 2 or 3 students in that class who actually studied. So it's basically their work and their effort that it's carrying everyone else around.
To drag you down.
Yeah, it is. Oh my god, this really touches me at an emotional level. I'm sorry.
I can totally understand it. It's complete and utter horseshit.
Yeah, I don't like carrying dead weights. Like the reason I hate working with other people, and I know I'm going to sound arrogant saying this, but when you have a project to do and you're really enthusiastic and you want to do it, but you see that someone is just dragging you back and they don't really care about the project and they're like, oh yeah, whatever, and they're treating it with disrespect. It drags everyone down.
Yeah, of course. I mean, if you get people who all agree that we all need to work hard, blah blah blah, then that's fine. If everyone pulls their weight, you get a hell of a good project out of it.
Yeah. And it's this mentality that, well, we should help everyone achieve. No, some people don't deserve it. Some people need to fail the class so they study harder, and then the second time, if they succeeded, they will be better. Let me give you an example. There was a Muslim in my university who failed gastroenterology 3 times in a row. Like for 3 times, he took the exam, he failed, and eventually he succeeded. Guess what he became when he graduated?
An SJW?
No, a gastroenterologist. Because like he studied it so much that he knew it perfection, and he actually started liking the subject.
Good.
Yeah, and
very good because he did it so damn much.
Yeah, exactly. Like sometimes it's better to fail. You learn things from failing.
Of course you do.
This idea
that more from failure than success. Everyone is,
And I understand, grades are kind of bad. They're not the perfect way to.
They're not perfect. No, they're not like. I don't think they're as bad as like these people are saying. I'm sure there are better ways, but like.
No, I guess it hurts feelings, because you get an F for feeling, and it's.
Yeah, tell me about your feelings, Mr. SJW.
Yeah.
I don't care about your fucking feelings.
Hackman said she was a professor. She freely employed these methods, so judging the class rather than the individual, with her own students. How do you? Yeah, and how do you know if the teacher is good? Because like the way you judge a teacher is based on the merits of her students.
I don't want to be judged on someone else's fucking, what they've done. Why would anyone want to be judged like that?
Yeah. She once let a student complete an essay assignment as a graphic novel and allowed student to write in non-standard English or even foreign language she herself couldn't read.
What? Say again. I missed that.
Are you sitting down?
I am sitting down, but I think I must have misheard you.
No. Close your eyes and count to 10. Close your eyes and count to 10.
Go on, say again, just so I know that what you said is what I heard. Because
she once let a student complete an essay assignment as a graphic novel and allowed students to write in non-standard English or even foreign languages she herself couldn't read.
Yeah, that's what I thought you said. How could she grade that? I mean, in her own mind, how could she justify any of that?
How are you helping the students learn?
Yeah.
Because
how can you correct them if they've made a mistake?
I can work the system. I can be, well, I didn't study for today's paper. I'll just write in what I pretend to be Romanian. And like I can write gibberish there. And I was like, there, I wrote it. Well, obviously, if you're white in English, you can't do it because, well, you're white in English.
Well, yeah, obviously. I mean, God, I don't have that privilege, but...
And also, like, non-standard English. So, like, if I would like with you are as in
Yeah. Just a total degradation of standards, because fuck standards.
Jesus Christ. This is what cultural Marxism is. I just, oh my God, it destroys society, mate. Like, imagine if she would get her way, all the teachers would be like her. Yeah. And when you go to get an education, you actually get indoctrinated and you get...
all I'm thinking of is Kant's categorical fucking imperative going, is this a good way to do something? The answer is, of course, fucking no. And if everyone did it, and that's exactly what you're saying, if everyone did it, it'd be a bad thing. And it's just like, okay, well, there we go. Let's not do this. This is a fucking bad idea, obviously. I mean, any moron could look at this and go, well, this is obviously a bad idea.
See, on one hand, I would like them to actually manage to do it and let them do it for a while, just so
not
they
in
can
my
pay.
Civilization. They can do it in someone else's civilization. They'll be like, well, this is a bad idea. You shouldn't do this. But it's...
Didn't they do it in Zimbabwe?
God knows.
No, they did it. It's the president of Zimbabwe is begging white people to come back now.
Oh, yeah, no, but that's a different thing. I don't think it's necessarily to do with the fact that...
No, but they fucked with the system. They removed the meritocracy. And now they're begging the meritocracy to come back.
Oh yeah, but the problem is really like outright communism in Zimbabwe.
Oh, and this isn't communism. What am I reading?
This is critical theory and postmodernism.
I see.
It doesn't necessarily have to be communist. But this, I mean, it probably...
Would you see a right-winger spouting this nonsense?
No, not in the current environment. I couldn't say it. But I'm not going to say I could never see it. I mean, it might one day be the case that the right wing decides, you know what, maybe we should, that maybe the left will completely take over. And the right will just be like, you know what, fuck it, we're just going to use your own fucking tactics and you're going to hate it and we're going to be like, ha.
Yeah, and we'll call it the alt-right.
Yeah.
If I don't... Yeah.
It's just absurd, isn't it? Like...
Well, I did hear from one Varilaw, which is, I think he's from the alt-right, I don't know.
Oh, who knows what Varel is from? We got him.
Yeah, and he said that all leftists are SJWs. And it's like, well, congratulations, they're using their tactics. All right-wingers are demons. They're all alt-right. Alt-right people are far-right. They're like Hitler and they're like Nazis.
Brilliant. I mean, I love. Who needs any kind of? I hate to use the word nuance, but who needs any kind of nuance in just their thought? I mean, it's just a lot of hassle in it. It'd be a lot easier to just not.
Hold on, I understand that Varilaw is not alt-right. Okay, so he's worse than the alt-right. He's more stupid.
He's alt-cucked. That's what he is.
Yeah, all leftists are SJWs, and they don't see the difference between an authoritarian, regime,
an authoritarian and a libertarian sort of.
Yeah, they don't see the difference between communism, like in the USSR and let's say UK after World War II, because they were both left,
Yeah, of course.
Still, still, Hackman is saying that you should relax because she acknowledges that in the current white supremacist system, there is some expectation that teachers will know conventional English and possess other
just some expectation.
Some expectation. It's still okay. She understands this. Okay, she's not a complete moron. She's not blind to reality.
Well, not yet, no. But where does she want to go with reality?
Well, as a result, she admitted modern activist teachers should try to learn those things sufficiently to get a job, but only for the purpose of infiltrating schools to change them from within.
Motherfucker. I mean, okay, so, I mean, this is a conspiracy theory, then. I mean, it is literally something they're conspiring to do, or what? I mean, is that...
Honestly, this is like Islam. You know, you're allowed to lie to the infidels.
Like, let's look at the next sentence. My long game was you get in, you get tenured, you get in that system, and then you change that system. Oh, well, there we go. So it really is the long march through the institutions.
You know, if you tell people, like, look, the left is like the progressives are conspiring to get their hands on institutions, they'll be like, no, it's a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, people have been totally conditioned, man. Like talking about the EU army, people are like, oh my god, this sounds like conspiracy theory talk. Really, the president of the EU Commission is saying we need an army. You've got plans drawn up over 18 months by the chief of fucking foreign affairs for an EU army, and you're saying, no, this is never going to happen. It's conspiracy theory. No, they're doing it, you fucknuts.
It will never pass. No, it won't pass.
God, it just we've already had to veto it once. In 2011, we already vetoed it.
You'll veto it again. No.
Yeah, until they gerrymander the fucking system so we can't veto it. That's what's going to fucking happen, man.
You're conspiring. No,
yeah, this is not going to happen.
You're not. No.
Yeah, just
never. Right-wing fanaticism.
Yeah, it's as if the people in control of the EU would ever do anything wrong.
Let's talk about how sexist you are instead.
Yeah, exactly. It's just crazy, though, isn't it? It's fucking...
See, I don't understand why you're so anti-Europe. I mean, I understand you live on a tiny island there, and you want to drive on the left side of the road.
Anti-me.
Yeah. Well, don't worry. Europe is not going to take away your right to drive on the left side of the road.
I don't care about that. That's literally the least of... honestly, it'd probably make more sense if we just drove on the right side of the road. You know, I mean, it probably is a case of Britain trying to be contrarian or something.
Man, you are killing people over here. Your shitty cars that get imported in my countries are killing people because they can't see how to do a proper bypassing of another vehicle. Because
I'm pretty sure you don't drive left-hand cars in Romania.
Yeah, they are. They import some left-hand cars over here. And there isn't a law forcing them to make it on the other side. Let me explain. The wheel on your cars is placed on the other opposite direction.
Yeah.
Right. So if
I understand, but why would it be allowed? Well, I mean, why would you sell those cars in a right-hand side drive country?
I don't know, but they do.
That's ridiculous.
Well, yeah. And basically,
that's absurd. I don't know why they do that. I don't know.
You're killing people. I hope you're happy.
I'm very happy, but that's not the reason I'm happy.
So the need for a change is pressing, Hackman said, because the current white supremacy school system is literally killing off non-white Americans. Proof, statistics.
Literally killing them off.
Yeah, I would like to see. This is all philosophy, but I would like to see a statistic or a proof that the system is killing off.
I could give you proof, but it's easier for me to just say they're literally killing them off.
Yeah, I see. Well, you know, then
doesn't that make my job a lot easier though? If I just say it.
No, then you would be subjected to white capitalist system and expectation standards, which you can't have. Well, you're fighting the system, so just showing me evidence would be helping the system.
Of course, it would be.
She predicted her approach will triumph, and the sinister force she dubbed Super Whitey.
What?
I'm not making it up.
It sounds made up, though.
Super Whitey. I wonder if it was like, instead of white people, you'd have black people. Would it be like Super Blackie?
No, because black people didn't invent the system.
Well, Super Jewy, then. Huh? Is this a thing?
And the Jews really confuse them. I really love how confused they get by the Jews, because Israel, but Holocaust. How do you square that victim riddle, you know?
And compared it to the Eye of Sauron.
I don't even know how to interpret this.
Wait, like any person that would come to Romania and would compare this and would like Super Whitey, Eye of Sauron, and we're like, okay, the psychiatric ward is right this way. Please step. You need to be locked
people
up.
People wonder like why I'm so critical of academia. It's just like this is like these are professors, man. This is meant to be an intellectual elite saying this kind of nonsense.
I want people to draw Sargon of Akkad in a super whitey fashion. I'm curious what they can do. Actually, not Sargon. Draw Carl. It's with like some super whitey theme.
Draw V. I want to see a Romanian Jew. You're actually not Jewish, are you?
I'm not Jewish. I don't know why people think I'm Jewish.
Romanians are obviously closely tied to Jews.
Yeah, I mean, I've lived in a very Orthodox Christian family, and then I became an atheist. I have absolutely nothing to do with Jewish people.
Except for your love of money.
My grandfather was a Nazi. Like, just... What the fuck?
That's even bad. Your grandfather was a Nazi.
He got decorated by the Nazis.
Hey, good for him.
Yeah, he killed Russians.
Hey, that's all right.
That is all right. Less people to annoy me in Dota now.
Yeah, no one's complaining about that.
Or maybe those were the good Russians that knew how to behave in Dota, and they killed them off.
That could explain a lot, actually, couldn't it? Let's be honest with ourselves.
Your time has come, Hackman said. If I was a white faculty member and I'm willing to get on with the program, I do not have any business in teacher education.
What?
We do see you, Super Whitey. We're coming for you.
Fucking hell. What are they... Jesus Christ, what are they talking about? Super Whitey. I mean, this is like...
Super Whitey.
This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. God, these people are lunatics. They need fucking therapy.
You know, I bet Sargon goes into like the phone booth and he like changes and he becomes Super Whitey.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I just tear open my shirt and underneath Super Whitey.
With theme music.
Yeah. I love the way you're implying like you don't, Whitey. Romanians are white too. You're all just as guilty.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah, exactly.
But I take pride. It's like I'm not kidding. The first time I read about privilege, and I did like check your privilege test. I didn't really know what it meant, and I'm like, oh, I'm really privileged. Well, that's good, you know. I'm like a noble. Why
I want to be privileged. What are you talking about?
Everyone wants to be privileged. Like, why would you not want to be privileged? I never understand it. And then it's like, oh, this is what they mean. Well, they're stupid. They want to be privileged. You know, deep inside, they want to be privileged as well because they keep talking about how bad it is and whatnot. But I guarantee to you, this woman enjoys being the center of attention.
Oh, of course.
She enjoys having her little army that she can push around and manipulate on the board. It's like, oh, let's infiltrate the academia.
She thinks she's doing, I don't want to say God's work, but something along those lines.
Marx's work.
Yeah, literally Marx's work. You know, so yeah, it's, you know, I just put in the I put in the ARC chat like bow down to me, inferior darkies, progressives 2016. So I was like, is that a Jess Phillips quote? It's like maybe.
Inferior darkies. That actually sounds good.
That seems to be their opinion.
Okay, so the New York Post. I want all the perks of maternity leave without having any kids.
I love this fat first world woman. I want free stuff.
Does she understand that maternity leave is actually straining the economy? I mean, it's something important to have.
She wants it for free, even though she doesn't have kids. Of course she does.
Yeah, but if she wants it for free, it will collapse the system. Look how fat she is. It will literally collapse the system.
Yeah, like her chair. It's going to collapse.
She be a whale, but the hour is late and her blowhorn be wet.
The man and the harpoons, Jesus. Go on. Why? What's her rationale for this? Let's hear it.
You know what I want to say? Like next time I hear one of these fat accepting feminists, I want to like quote from Moby Dick, and it's like, from the depths of hell I spat at thee. You need to always quote the captain, you know.
Honestly, I just want to scare them. I want to make them try and run away.
Well, I think if you have a
harpoon, is taking off his belt now, whip off him and start advancing on him, trying to intimidate them, see if they try and run away. That's
like if you have a harpoon and run after one, it's like from the depths of hell I spurt at thee, white demon. You know, they will probably run away.
To be fair though, that might cause some sort of heart attack or something. So I probably shouldn't. I might be convicted of murdering them through proxy.
Because you also have a beard, and they might think you're Islamic.
Yeah.
So if they call me super whitey, can I call them super fatty?
God, oh God.
Okay, so Megan Faye, 38, was jealous of coworkers clocking out for maternity leave and decided she needed to take a break of her own. Here, the author of the novel.
I love this. I love this. He said, you know, I need a break. I'm just going to take a break. I deserve maternity leave. How can I get this in a newspaper? Oh, the New York Post will report on this. What?
She believes every woman deserves mandated me time. Okay, I don't think she understands maternity leave because it's definitely not me time. It's your
I don't think she
child's
understands
time.
equality either. Every woman deserves it. Why? Why every woman? Why not every person?
Yeah, but
You'd still get it if it was every person, you fucking sexist.
yeah, why can't she just pawn a blood muppet out of her vagina and then she gets it the normal way? I just don't understand.
That's responsibility and hard work.
Yeah,
I've
possibly.
seen a birth. It looks like a lot of hard work. I'm not gonna lie.
No, it is hard work. You
Yeah, I
know,
can believe
but I seen a kidney stone and that is hard work. I'm not gonna
I can
lie.
believe that's hard work as well. Jesus, man, I hope that never happens to me. I swear to God.
Oh, I hope you have, but I want you to have like the little ones because you get to pee them out.
I don't know, mate. Yeah, mate, saying to someone, I hope you get kidney stones is a real asshole thing to say.
It's actually considered to be the third most painful thing in the world.
Yeah, I could believe it.
Like giving birth is somewhere along the ninth. The first is actually an infection of the facial nerve. The second is pancreatic cancer. And the third is kidney stone. Now, my question is like, how did someone put a scale on them? Did they find someone that had all three of them and ask them like, what does it hurt more?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, how else do you? I mean, pain's surely relative anyway. So
yeah, it's subjective. You know, it's
you know, you can't sit there and go, well, this is objectively more painful.
Well, I at one point it gives tachycardia, like your heart starts beating really, really fast, and your blood pressure, and you know you turn pale, you sweat. So I think like you know there are objective signs of how much pain you're having.
Okay.
But this is the problem, right? So this woman believes that maternity leaves is woman time. It's me time, like it's a holiday vacation.
Yeah, I love that she does think that this is vacation time, doesn't she?
I was 31 years old in 2009, and I love my career as an editor at Popular Magazine. I go to work on big stories, attend cool events, and meet famous celebs all the time. Yeah, I can totally see why she needs a vacation from this shit.
Clearly, she needs time off.
Yeah, she needs time off. I mean, it's like Jesus, like constructing bridges or something like that, building skyscrapers, as we said earlier.
You know,
running.
She's got a busy life. Okay,
yeah, it's like running a YouTube channel. Hard work. Yeah.
Yeah, no, mate. I would think I'd do more hard work than she fucking does.
Mate, she probably stays at Starbucks with a laptop writing the article, and you're mocking it. You're like dismissing her experience.
Yeah, this is just patriarchy, though. You see, and just patriarchy at work. It wants people to benefit from their hard work, and she's not really working that hard, and she deserves time off.
Of course she deserves it. She's a woman. Yeah. She's a princess. She's daddy's little princess. Like, look at her face.
Mate, everything is just the most entitled thing in the world, isn't it? You know, I'm a fat, white, first world woman who's done no real work. All I do is sit there and gossip about fucking celebrities in the newspaper. And now I deserve some time off because I deserve this.
Gossip as a profession.
Yeah, I intrinsically deserve it just for what I am. Just how I was born as a woman means I deserve something.
Look at the picture. It shows me.
Yeah, she genuinely. I'm amazed. It's just this whole fucking. I could never imagine thinking so highly of myself that I'm a man. I'm a man. I'm a straight white man. I've got a nice easy job. I deserve some things. You know,
I'm a Muslim. I'm a Muslim. I deserve to have my women be.
Yeah, exactly. I just can't get over this kind of mindset of just like I've done nothing, but maybe.
I bet she dates black guys. Someone in the chat said.
I doubt it.
She's not that diverse.
She doesn't date anyone because
she's a racist.
She's 38 and she's a beast.
She's a beast. I don't know. For American standards, she looks quite thin.
Jesus, really. I don't. Americans come in two sizes: really hot or really fat.
So And yet, after 10 years of working in a job where I was always on a deadline, journalism, it's hard, mate. They have deadlines.
Yeah, go work in a factory or something. It'd be easier. You won't have a deadline. You just have to turn up and sit there for 10 hours a day, mindless grind.
I mean, imagine being a doctor, and your patient just came out of surgery, and like you go home finally resting.
6 hours,
Yeah, and you're dead tired, and you go home resting, and all of a sudden your phone rings. It's like, oh, the patient that came out, there's complications. You need to come to the hospital right now.
No, mate. That's not as hard as being on a deadline for a story.
Yeah, it's not, because you don't have deadlines. You can operate them tomorrow. It was your choice to operate them today.
She has to write 350 words. All right? I mean, Christ.
Yeah, no, but think about
perspective.
See, I just realized, being a doctor, you can choose not to operate him today, and you can postpone it, and eventually maybe he hopefully dies, and then you don't have to operate him as well. So it's like, oh.
Romanian doctors, everyone.
It's just things that I realize, We get paid by the state, socialist state. You get paid even if you operate or if you don't. So it's like brought to you by UK.
Oh yeah. This is our fault somehow.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's called the Bismarck system that you're having as well. So anyway,
we can blame the Germans then.
I can blame the Germans, blame the Nazis. And yet, after 10 years of working at a job where I was always on a deadline, I couldn't help but feel envious when parents on staff left the office at 6 p.m. to tend to their children, while it was assumed co-workers without kids would stay behind to pick up the slack.
I love the idea that she's not they're not going home to sip mojitos and put their feet up. They're going home to look after small children, which is, it's not a job, but it's certainly tiring.
Yeah, no, it's. I think that deep inside she believes that they were just making up an excuse.
Oh yeah, of course she does.
I'm going to take care of the kids. Wink, wink.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what she fucking thinks.
Also, it's like when parents on the staff left the office at 6 p.m. Why was she working at 6 p.m.? It's illegal to hold someone more than 8 hours at work. Either that, or she's not starting work at 8 p.m. like normal people.
Yeah, there's a good chance she's on flexi time as well.
I need a maternity leave, I told one of my pregnant friends. She laughed, and we spent the afternoon plotting my escape from my 10-hour work days. Fake baby bumps and all.
This is actually annoying me now. It's just I just fuck off, bitch. Seriously,
plotting your escape. You can quit your job. No one is forcing you to have this job. Yeah. If you're being worked 10 hours a fucking day, start a Patreon, a PayPal, and do your thing from home. It's 2016.
I'll send you a tweet to tell you that I won't rape you. You'll be in the national newspaper all over again.
See, Sargon is willing to help.
Yeah, I'm doing a public service.
But look at Bob Chipman. Look at Jim Sterling. All of these journalists. No, but they left. They left, and they're still making money. They're not working 10 hours a day. No, Bob Chipman actually does work. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, Bob Chipman has a lot of flaws, but he does actually do hard work. So
he's fat, but he's still productive.
Yeah, he actually has a work ethic. Yeah, but that's why he's always been on the margins of the SJW Cool Kids Club. He's got a bit of a work ethic. Yeah, he's not a proper SJW, and they're never going to accept him as one because he's never going to be playing himself as the victim.
Pretty much, yeah.
To him, that's a bad thing because he knows that being a victim is a bad thing and playing on it is a bad thing.
Yeah.
So he's never gonna.
People give him the suspicious gaze. It's like something is off with it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can be a white male ally as long as you just shut your mouth and keep them in line.
He is not acting like a darky.
Yeah.
He is not a super darky.
Let's go to the next one.
Of course, that didn't happen. Oh, I was like really reading this with excitement, thinking that she might actually fake a pregnancy to get maternity leave.
No.
But she had fake baby bumps.
Hard work.
And then no, not really, because she's fat. I mean, you can't really tell.
Yeah, but it's a fair point actually. Yeah, maybe. But I mean, it takes some balls, doesn't it, to lie to your boss for 6 months and 9 months and then not have a kid at the end of it.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult to say if she ate a kid or if she has a kid. But the more I thought,
Go on.
But the more I thought about it, the more I came to believe in the value of maternity leave, which is to me a sabbatical-like break that allows women, and to a lesser degree men, to shift their focus to the part of their lives that doesn't revolve around their jobs.
Jesus Christ. I mean, who does she think is going to be doing the work when the women are taking these sabbaticals?
Sabbatical. No, honestly, if I was a man, you know, and I know that the woman is staying home, I would expect her to do the housework. You know, you're staying home all day.
Yeah.
I'm working. What the fuck are you doing?
I would
way
expect
around.
anyone who sits at home all day to do the fucking housework.
Yeah, and other way around. By the way, if my wife would be working and I wouldn't be, for whatever reason, maybe I'm looking for another job. Maybe
at home has got to tidy the house because they're at fucking home.
Yeah, exactly. And you can do it whenever the fuck you want. Yeah, you know, it's not something that's required to have a time schedule.
Man, I tell you what, if I was a fucking house husband, I didn't have to work, and I sat home all day, I would have the most amazing schedule planned out. I would literally be like, right, okay, you know, woman's left for work in the morning, right, what am I going to do? I'm going to spend, I don't know, say 2 hours in the morning, just like blitzing the whole house, get everything fucking done. You got music on loud, you're fucking booming out, get everything done, bam, bam, bam. Then what for the rest of the day? And right, you got another 5 hours until you got to pick up the kids, or 4 hours until you pick up the kids. Well, I'm sorry, but I'm going to be going on video games all day.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
By the way, aren't you sitting at home all day being a YouTuber and all?
Yeah, but I'm not fucking playing video games all day.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm playing them today, actually, but that's because
you
I
are.
really hard yesterday. The day before.
I know. But you're doing the housework, right?
No, that's why I have a wife.
Okay, no, this is just no. You're enforcing the patriarchy. Good for you.
I only do one piece of housework, and that's washing the dishes.
Oh my god! Like, you know, you can buy a dishwasher, right?
We have a dishwasher, but the thing is, I actually hate loading the dishwasher more than I hate washing the dishes. Yeah, so I would rather stand there and wash the dishes by hand than load the dishwasher.
That's
interesting. Can't be bothered. It's too much hassle. The dishwasher stinks, and it's just like I just can't be bothered. I would rather, you know, I can put like a video on, watch some interesting stuff, and then it's just relaxing to do it. It's not a hassle, you know.
Yeah, I can see. You can use the washing machine if you really are desperate.
No, it's just hassle. Honestly, it takes about fucking long to unload and load the thing anyway. So
yeah, I can see your problem. You know, you're the man. You can enforce a rule in your household.
Yeah,
everyone washes
I'll do it how
dishes.
I fucking like.
Yeah, everyone washes his own dish. You can do that.
I would do. My son, I wouldn't trust him with washing dishes.
Well, you know, you can wash your sons as well, but then you're washing one less dish.
It's all right, you know.
And if your wife does the cooking, she needs to wash as well. It's like,
no. The thing is,
it's
it's kind of the same deal my dad had with my mum. Actually, he didn't like doing housework, obviously, but my mum loathed doing the ironing. So every Sunday, he would just stand in front of the TV doing the ironing, watching Doctor Who or whatever, and she'd literally do all the other housework. And I'm thinking, right, this is a good deal. not only can I say, well, I do this, so I've got a comeback when she says you've made a mess or something. But you know, it's something that she doesn't have to, that she hates, so I don't have to hear about her hating it.
Yeah, that's pretty reasonable.
Honestly, it's a hell of a good compromise.
You get patriarchy to work in your favor.
Yeah, mate, I'm one of those people who can make patriarchy work.
For women who follow a traditional path, this pause often naturally comes in your late 20s or early 30s, when a wet-nick pregnancy and babies mean that your personal life takes center stage. But for those who end up on the other path that society mandates time and space for self-reflection may never come. Honestly, she really thinks that having a kid is about you.
Yeah. She's an idiot.
When I graduated from college in the early 2000s, I enjoyed the same unspoken expectation shared among my fellow Gen Xers. If you poured your heart and soul into your career, you would eventually get to a director level and have the flexibility, paycheck, and assistance beneath you to begin and create a work-life balance. Well, yeah, see, you are lied by feminists. And now you, instead of like acknowledging what happened, you're like trying to blame people for not giving you free maternity leave. You chose career over profession. Nothing wrong with that. But now deal with the choice that you made, you know?
Yeah, that was your choice. So don't fucking complain about it, you know?
Not to mention, it's something that I noticed. Men who are successful at business get more women, while women who are successful at business don't necessarily get more men, because men aren't really attractive and successful women, you know?
Well, no, the woman becomes competition rather than a mate.
Well, not only that. I mean, the thing is, if she's successful at her work and more than the man, you know, that's not necessarily a turn on. It's just an extra. It's nice to have. You know,
it's something I can respect. You know,
it's nice to have, but it's not exactly what I'm looking for in a mate. You know, if she has the other qualities that I'm looking for and she's successful, then yeah, of course, you know, that's
I wouldn't necessarily be like no, never, but it's not something I look for in a woman.
Yeah.
You know, financial success.
Exactly. Then the 2008 recession hit, and people were lucky to have jobs at all. Assistance and perks disappeared across the industries, and I felt like the cultural expectation was that we should now be tethered to our desks and our smartphones. It's like, women, you're lucky you had the job.
Yeah, this is what work is. It's not fun. You know, it's not relaxing at home watching Hollyoaks, love.
Yeah, it's when I had to sell my house in order to be able to live, because it was with the economic crisis.
Yeah.
You know, and I had to sell my house so that we moved somewhere else. And my dad lost the car because my dad lost his job. It was a horrible place, but I guess she didn't experience this because she had a fucking job, and it pisses me off.
Yeah. Right, yeah, should we go to the next one?
Well, I wanted to see what she thinks about parenthood, because it's like, it seems that the parenthood was the only path that provided a modicum of flexibility. There's something about saying, I need to go pick up my child as a reason to leave the office on time that has more gravitas than saying my best friend just got ghosted by her OkCupid date and needs a margarita.
Oh yeah, it's the same fucking thing. I mean, practically the same thing. What's the difference?
No, but she says that she wants to use her kid as an excuse to skip on work.
Yeah, but that's the point. You know, she's like, oh well, you know, why can't I just use this excuse? Because it's not the same thing. It's not. What? Why? Why would you think?
One friend made the decision to leave her corporate career to create her own business. Another decided to switch industries. From the outside, it seemed like those few weeks of them shifting their focus to something other than their jobs gave them a new lens through which to see their own lives. Like, you can do this as well. No one is forcing you to not take an unpaid vacation. I think she's not married. This is why she's
her boss probably is like, what? No, you can't just go off. I need people to work. That's why I hire you.
Yeah. No, but I think that she is not married, and this is the issue.
Oh yeah, I'm sure she isn't married.
Because if you're married, you know, you can talk with your husband and you're like, look, this job that I have is making me really unhappy, and you know, I would like to take some time off. And probably the husband, if he loves her, would be like, yeah, sure, I'll support you.
Maybe.
Here are the 10 countries where homosexuality may be punished by death. Okay, Yemen, Muslim country. Iran, Muslim country. Mauritania, Muslim country. Nigeria, Muslim country.
There's no connection here to Islam.
Qatar, Muslim country.
You're such a fucking homophobe.
Saudi Arabia, Muslim country. Afghanistan, Muslim country. Somalia is not a Muslim country. It's not. It is.
And yet,
it's not a country. It does not have a government. So basically, if you go there with a private military force and kill the local warlord, you become the local warlord. Your rules become enforced on people.
Yeah, probably. But
yeah, until someone kills you, of course.
Yeah.
But still.
How well is that going to work out?
It does have 93% of Muslims. That is correct. But it's not a Muslim country. There's one more, I think. I think Nigeria, if I'm not mistaken, is also like half Christian and half Muslim. But they're operating under Sharia law, and you can also be sentenced to prison for blasphemy. And even if you're not a Muslim and you blaspheme, you get into a Sharia law.
Yeah, of course.
And the United Arab Emirates, Muslim country. You know, like, this is the thing that I said, you know, about the European Union. Like, all these countries that we're taking people from, they should be banned for massive immigration. Like, if most of the refugees are coming from Somalia, Sudan, and Afghanistan.
Yeah, basically all of those countries you just listed are countries that are sending large numbers of refugees.
Yeah, and these people have a vastly different culture, right? They're completely different culture than the secular West.
Totally.
how are you expecting them to integrate? You're putting thousands of them in the same place.
Yeah.
And what do you think happens when you have 1,000 of Nigerians move to 1,000 more Afghanistani? You know, they're going to try to reproduce their own cultures because they can't speak English. They're not educated.
Of course.
But I guess I'm a bigot, right?
Yeah, that means you're basically a terrible person, Albie. Stating a fact.
A feminist critique of Marx. What, Marx gets criticized?
You know it's going to be good, don't you?
You can't criticize Marx. Marx does the criticism. You don't criticize him. That's not how it works. You think Marx is a Muslim because he has a beard?
I think Marx would just be like, Jesus, I'm pretty sure I didn't mean any of this.
Honestly, it would be so cool to like get people to travel through time and show them like the fruits of their labor.
Yeah.
Probably the guy who invented Christianity didn't mean the Crusades and things like that, you know.
Yeah, but I'm sick of people using the Crusades as some sort of example because that's like using fucking.
I know. I keep forgetting what I'm talking about.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. It's just like, no, just.
The first Crusade wasn't bad, but the rest were.
Well, no, the thing is, bad is like a fucking relative term. You know, it's oh shit! I've just pressed something on my fucking TV and now I can't see the.
Yeah, I should trigger you by mentioning the Crusade of the Children.
Oh, it doesn't trigger me. I didn't go on it.
They enslaved all the kids, didn't they?
Not all of them. Some of them escaped.
Some of them were
got raped. Not all of them. Not all children were raped or killed.
Can you tell your audience what the Crusade of the Children was?
Yeah, the Children's Crusade was some kid somewhere in Europe got the bright idea in their head that God was talking to them. And God was saying that the Holy Land would be liberated by the children and not the adults. And so they started walking from Northern Europe down towards the Mediterranean. And they ended up picking up probably like 20,000 children or something. It's a huge thing. And the adults were just like, well, I mean, if God says it, Godspeed to you. Yeah, they end up giving them passage across to North Africa, and the Muslims were like, well, thanks for bringing us all these slaves. This was so considerate of you.
Were they even armed?
No, of course not. They're fucking children.
Yeah, okay. So how exactly they thought they were going to talk the Muslims down?
I don't know. I don't think they knew.
Staring contest.
It's never explained. It's never explained in any way how these kids were possibly going to liberate the Holy Land.
See, this is why I think this crusade didn't actually happen.
Well, there is a school of thought that says the crusade was made up.
Yeah, I don't think that. I think this is just Christian porn at this point. One of these propaganda to make the Islamists look bad. I mean, honestly,
it's entirely possible. It's entirely possible that it was propaganda.
Yeah. Go home, children. Go home. Silvia Federici is one of the most important political theorists alive today. Her landmark book, Caliban and the Witch, demonstrated the inextricable link between anti-capitalism and radical feminist policies by digging deep into the actual history of capitalist centuries-long attack on women and the body. Capitalist attack.
Capitalism is the problem, and
I imagine someone explaining capitalism is like, look, there's a supply and a demand, and everything has its price. Why are you against women's rights? Why are you against the body?
Yeah, I know. It's just ridiculous, isn't it?
In this essay, originally written in 2008, she follows up on that revelation by laying out, she was probably high on some crack and was like, do you know what I think? I think capitalism is bad.
I was reading a thing by Marxism, and by Marx, and basically he was saying that if we just collectivize responsibility, it's not my fault. In fact, it's someone else's fault.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
That explains why I'm a loser. It's like, yes, I mean, that would explain why you're a loser. If it was someone else's, it was someone else's fault that you're a loser.
This is so much better than religion, because even in religion, you are told there's this thing in the Bible where it says that everyone got a shekel, you know, and one person buried the shekel while the others invested the shekel and had more wealth. And then the father comes back and rewards the people who invested the shekels, but punishes the one who did nothing with it, right? Even in the Bible, it's encouraged that you need to work hard.
Of course.
You know, use the gifts that were given to you. This ideology is better than religion, because all of a sudden it's never your fault. You know, oh, hardship. Well, it's not my fault.
You didn't do nothing.
It did nothing, yeah. Man, there was this case in America. I'm sorry for like breaking up, but
that's fine.
There was this black dude who entered a woman's house, probably still black because they don't mention her race. And he went there to burglarize, right? And this woman was burglarized before. So she had the cameras to offer her protection. So she finds out that someone is in her house and shoots the fucker. Now, right.
Yeah.
And
someone breaks in, you shoot them.
You shoot them. Yeah,
they had it coming, yeah.
Yeah, they had it coming. Like, you could also throw with a tomahawk after them. And it's big.
Yeah, well, you defend your property, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. She could have had the dog with rabies inside, for all we care.
Anyway, I've never got any sympathy for burglars who break into someone's house and then get injured or shot. It's like, well, there we go.
Sorry for not taking care of my house, so you can burglarize it. Probably.
Yeah. Mate, there was a thing in England where the burglar had tried to come in through a skylight, fallen and injured himself on the table or something, and then they sued. And it was like, well, no, fuck you.
Yeah, but still, right. So she shoots the didn't do nothing. Yeah. And then his family are crying and they're blaming the woman. It's like, why did she shot him? Why? But someone brings something up really important. It's like, how was he going to pay for his education?
Yeah, I saw that, and it was just like, well, he could get a job.
What?
That's crazy, dog.
That's white culture. That's imperialism.
Yeah, white imperialism. How dare you suggest that this person should earn their own money instead of stealing it from someone else?
Mate, to be fair, I understand the issue. You know, there are some black neighborhoods in America that are really, really poor. And these are the people probably voting for Trump because they want more jobs.
Oh.
And there is a chance that, you know, he would grow up in one of these neighborhoods where the woman is fucking up like 7 or 8 kids and then don't care about them. It's like, you know, I'm just living out of the welfare that the state provides. And you can...
Definitely possible. Plausible.
Yeah. But burglary is never the answer unless you don't get caught. If you got caught, that's your fault. Okay.
Oh, gypsy morality, I love it.
No, but honestly, like to hear making excuses for this, at least try to pretend that you're outraged by it. I understand someone died, but they were burglaring. Honestly, people keep saying rape is so bad. And it is bad.
Tell me how it's not as bad as everyone's saying, V.
But imagine having your house burglared. You know, like you come in, you know, you notice that your door is unlocked.
Yeah.
And when you open, you notice that
you rape whoever's burglaring you.
No, listen to me, right? I'm reaching somewhere with this shit.
I see.
And you notice that things are stolen, right? You notice that someone got into your house. How will you be able to sleep the next night, knowing that someone can break into your house while you're inside?
Well, you'd be very worried, wouldn't you?
You will never feel safe again. You will always feel the worry that, holy shit, you know, I'm living in this dangerous neighborhood. Someone broke in before. They can do it again.
I need to get a gun. That's what they're going to think.
Yeah, you probably need to get a gun, or at least get a machete or something. Yeah. Or a dog.
Yeah, and they're going to want some form of home defense.
Yeah, and the next time someone breaks in, you're already covered with these strong emotions of fear and you know, fight or flight. So of course you're going to react. It's not like she was sitting comfortably in her armchair and it's like, oh, this young lad broke here, you know, I think his future.
And he was like, please, man, don't shoot me. And she was like, no, I think I'm going to.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she was obviously scared for her life.
You know, I'm going to shoot you after you run away, and then I'm going to drag your body back on my property.
And then I'm going to tell them you attacked me.
Yeah. Yeah, she would explain everything like a comic book villain.
Yeah, I was just waiting for some poor young black kid who just couldn't afford an education to break in so I could murder him in cold blood.
I hope your parents have a picture of you looking really innocent when you're young.
It's fucking yeah. So yeah, but yeah. Let's carry on.
Right.
Sidetrack.
Yeah. I don't know, but it was a good sidetracking. So the reproduction of labor power in the global economy and the unfinished feminist revolution. See, a lot of people don't know.
Unfinished feminist revolution.
This is interesting. No. She has a point.
Communism called itself the only way women can become equal to men.
Ooh.
Yes, the only way.
Well, I mean, it probably is technically because it's the equality of the outcome rather than the opportunity. And if women do less work than men, and I mean, they never. Why would they start doing loads of work if they don't want to do loads of work?
Have you ever heard the expression "women can only become equal to men through feminism"? Is the only way.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Communists used to say it exactly the same, word for word. Yeah, it was communist propaganda.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Women work and women labor are buried deeply in the heart of capitalist society, social and economic structure.
Those evil capitalists.
Yeah, like making women work instead of staying at home. It is clear that capitalism has led to the super exploitation of women.
God, won't somebody just stop capitalism in its tracks? I mean, it's oh God, it's so awful. It's just making the world modern and productive. It's fucking horrible.
Mate, to be fair, unchecked capitalism is bad because it gives kids to work.
I think we're kind of talking about corporatism, really, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're not really talking about free market economics.
No, even free market economics, like getting kids to work in factories, like you need some rules to.
Yeah, look, I'm not saying unregulate it. Jesus.
Yeah, or pregnant women to work in factories and stuff.
Well, that's obviously what are you talking about? Who else is going to work in the coal mines if not for pregnant women?
This would not offer much consolation if it had only meant heightened misery and oppression. But fortunately, it has also provoked resistance. And capitalism has become aware that if it completely ignores or surpasses this resistance, it might become more and more radical, eventually turning into a movement for self-reliance and perhaps even the nucleus of a new social order.
Yeah, I'm not really worried about the new social order of lazy people, though. They're always going to fail.
It's written by Robert Beale, The New Imperialism, 2000. I really need to show people some communist propaganda just to show them how much they hate capitalism.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, capitalism to communists was like the Jews to the Germans and the Nazis.
Pretty much, yes.
And unlike the patriarchy to feminism.
And they have like really nice depictions, but I need to. Oh yeah, this is the one. Look here. Usually the capitalist person is always described as a fat man, right? He's really fat from all the things that he has eaten. Yeah. And it's usually at the expense of the poor person. And you can see how oppressive America is here.
Yeah. But I mean, don't get me wrong, there is the argument that, these people would try and roll back workers' rights, and they would, They probably would try and roll back workers' rights. And so, it does need to be, controlled.
Well, it does have some truth into it, as you said, but
look
at this.
Go crazy with it.
Big business, and he.
There is a legitimate concern with giant international corporations basically taking over the world.
I think that's going to be the new system, honestly.
Yeah,
I don't see anyone competing with Google. I don't see Google ever having a downfall. I don't think these big corporations are going to ever be like.
There would have to be a major paradigm shift for it to occur.
Yeah.
Something much better than what Google is offering would have to come along.
No, and now Google is supporting presidential candidates. Google is supporting Hillary Clinton.
They're probably the biggest company in the world.
They have more money than some governments.
Of course they do.
So
of course they do.
Yeah, so we're going to go into this new age that's pretty much like cyberpunk. Where you have corporations controlling most of the things, and they decide.
This is going to happen.
Yeah. It's not necessarily bad. It's not necessarily good. It's just different. We don't know yet. It's
I'm less inclined to think it's going to be a good thing.
Maybe instead of voting someone, you will purchase stock for a corporation you like. Who knows how it's going to be?
Maybe.
The emerging liberative agent in the third world is the unwaged force of women who are not yet disconnected from the life economy by their work. They serve their life, not commodity production. They are the hidden underpinning of the world economy and the wage equivalent of their life-serving work estimated at $16 trillion. The cancer state of capitalism.
Housewives. Is she talking about housewives?
No, she's actually talking about women who are working and capitalism is benefiting off of their work.
But capitalism isn't like a thing you can point to. Like,
Well,
she's talking about it as if capitalism is like some evil entity.
No. She's quoting from different authors, and
Okay,
the author she's quoting is John McMurtry, The Cancer State of Capitalism.
Right. Okay.
And it's written in 1999. The pestle has snapped because of so much pounding. Tomorrow I'll go home. Until tomorrow. Because of so much pounding, tomorrow I will go home. Women sung from Nigeria.
Do they think that they won't have to work in a different system?
Well, if they're with the outright, probably, because then the man does all the work and pays for them. So,
good point. They could be traditionalists,
but I don't think they are.
No, I don't think they are either. But this is the thing. What's that? Wages against housework. This is another thing that pisses me off. You want to be paid for housework.
They say it is love. We say it is unwaged work. They call it fragility. We call it abstention. Every miscarriage is a work accident. Homosexuality and heterosexuality are both working conditions, but homosexuality is workers' control of production, not the end of work. More smiles, more money. Nothing will be so powerful in destroying the healing virtues of a smile. Neuron suicides, occupational disease of the housewife, by Silvia Federici. Okay.
Yeah.
But these fuckers don't understand.
So someone who has a bad husband is what we're saying.
No, it's actually something else. These people don't understand that in order to have the traditional family marriage, which a lot of the alt-righters are also asking for.
Hang on. Let's just. I just want to interrupt you because someone in the chat is making a defense of this, and I just want to. Jim says, bullshit. The alt-right protect women and gives them different rights compared to men and different responsibilities too. So yeah, I don't want you giving anyone anything.
No, here's the problem with this, because this is exactly what I want to touch on. There are some people in the alt-right, not all of them. There are some who believe that women should take care of the housework and not have a job if possible. Right? There are some. I heard this argument a lot of times, and in Stormfront and whatever. In order to be able to do this, you need to have a very rich society that can afford doing this, because it means that one person in the family needs to have an income that's so big in order to be able to afford keeping a woman at home, feeding her, right, clothing her, and all of that, keeping the kids at home, feeding them, clothing them, and all of this needs to come from one single wage.
Yeah.
The only way you can do this is if your country is extremely productive, like America used to be after World War II, because they won the war, and
the reason the Nigerian women had the song about banging the mortar and pestle is because they had to work.
Yeah.
Everyone had to work. In poor societies, everyone has to work. It's just the way it is.
And the other way you can do this, if you are pulling money literally off the ground, like Saudi Arabia pulls oil.
Yeah.
And then you can have women staying at home. And even throughout history, women did not stay at home. Just because they stood at home, they still knitted. They created something. They made clothing. They made baskets. They made things that they would sell. It's
even aristocratic ladies. They would weave dresses.
And let's think about it from another point of view. Back then, a couple of 100 years ago, housework was actually something really difficult. Like it would take you an hour to wash all the clothes by hand. And then it would take you another hour to probably sew or knit or something like that, because you obviously created things for them.
It's a job, it's a work.
Yeah, you had to broom things, you had to cook things. Now you have a microwave, you can just throw the food in and it's done. You can order things if you're really picky. You have a washing machine, you have a vacuum cleaner. I have a 3-room apartment and I can take care of all the housework in less than half an hour. So I really don't understand why would a woman stay at home all day? Like, how would it be productive in any way? How would it improve the family life?
For me.
And in Romania, you wouldn't even be possible. Like a salary, a wage for a doctor in Romania is around $200. So the only way to survive is to marry another doctor, and together you have $400. Right? So that now you can raise the kids. It is impossible economically to just afford a woman to stay home unless you're rich as fuck.
Yeah.
Also, I don't understand why feminists are so against women staying at home. Like, I would love to stay at home. I would love to not worry about the job, to not worry about those awful deadlines that the feminist before was complaining. because you have no deadlines. You can cook and clean whenever the fuck you want.
Yeah, well, no, you are on a schedule because kids need to eat and stuff.
Yeah,
but,
you can order if you want, you know.
Yeah, it's not like the end of the world.
Yeah, and if the kids need to eat at 2 and you feed them at 3, nothing bad is going to happen.
Well, they'll scream a bit, but
yeah, they'll scream a bit, but that's until they grow up. Once they grow up, you're like, well, you know what, it's done. And not only that, but when you're at work, when you fuck something up, you have a boss that keeps staying and looming over you and is asking you for, you know.
Yeah, you're not in charge of what's going on.
You're not in charge of what's going on.
In charge of the domestic sphere, you know.
Yeah, but if you're in house and let's say you break the pickle jar and you cause the mess, well, you're just going to mop it off and that's it. You know, no one cares.
Not some sort of fucking big deal.
And then again, like, what woman would ever want to have a man that just stays home and does nothing while she goes out and works and brings
that's
money?
That's the thing, isn't it? Women tend to find men working attractive.
Yeah, but it's society.
Or anything. But yeah, it's like that's. I tell you what, man. I always feel bad when I see like something written by like a male feminist. And it's just like, well, I was really good and I respected her boundaries and I did all this, I did all that. And it's like, yeah, you never asserted yourself. You know, you weren't demonstrating that you were a competent mate. You know, no wonder they want to have sex with you. Jesus.
Well, you know, the real love now is to have an open relationship and cock your wife like Jim Sterling.
Well, you know, I mean, the thing is, right, in Jim Sterling's relationship, who do you think is getting the sex? Him or his wife?
I think him, because he makes $9,000 a month.
Good point. His wife does look like Jabba the Hutt, so.
Again, it's one of those cases where you can't tell if she ate a baby or have a baby. So this essay is a political reading of the restructuring of the reproduction of labor power in the global economy, but it is also a feminist critique of Marx that is different ways has been developed since the 1970s. This critique was first articulated by activists in the Campaign for Wages for Housework. Oh my God!
I mean, who do they think are paying them wages for housework?
The state, your taxes.
They do think that, though, don't they? They do think
Your
they're just be getting money because they sit at home and do housework.
Yeah.
Crazy. Not paying you for your housework.
You pay them for your housework, or you go to jail for tax evasion. Pay the woman what they're due, bitch.
Right, I've probably only got about half an hour left. So,
right. Well, one more thing. This is interesting. They do get paid for their housework. Like, if you have a divorce, you get half of the shit the man has.
Well, yeah.
So most of the time, they get shit that doesn't even belong to them. So there's that. But we're not going to talk about this. This is like a by the way. Oh, and in America, they get this thing called alimony, which apparently
in the manner she was accustomed to.
Yeah, you need to keep her in the manner she was accustomed to. And this was a law back when women didn't work, you know, so that she can find another replacement husband when the first one is defective. So now that women work, alimony is not required, you know. And people brought this up, feminists were against it, and now feminists are starting to realize that, well, maybe we need to remove alimony because some women are earning more than men, and after the divorce, they have to pay the man, which is absolutely just unacceptable.
Haram, yeah.
It is haram.
Terribly problematic.
Haram, yeah. At the center of this critique is the argument that Marx's analysis of capitalism has been hampered by his inability to conceive of value-producing work other than in the form of commodity production, and his consequent blindness to the significance of women unpaid reproductive work in the process of capitalism accumulation.
I love the way that this would go, though. This would end up with a society where people, I mean, it's literally turning every interaction into a financial exchange.
Yeah. But you get welfare for having kids irresponsibly.
But then I'd be like, well, you know, I'm not going to do that. I'm literally, every woman will be a prostitute.
Yeah. But some are. You know what I noticed?
Some are, but every woman would be a prostitute.
No, I noticed that in the black neighborhoods that I talked about. It's not just the black neighborhoods. You know, it's usually poor neighborhoods that have like 8 kids to get from welfare to live by. why isn't there a law? Because I'm from the left, and I agree the importance of welfare, but I don't understand why after you had your first kid and you get welfare, why do you get welfare for having your second, your third, your fourth, or your fifth? There should be a limit to the number of welfare
there actually is in this country because of the way it was being abused.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah, now it's £25,000. They can't possibly get any more than that.
That's so good.
I actually do think it's a good thing. I do think we should, because the thing is, under Labour there was a huge incentive, and you would meet young girls from young women from poor backgrounds who's like, well, I'm just going to have 3 kids, and I'll get X amount of money a year, and it's like, Jesus Christ. I mean, they're proper cynical about it,
Yeah. No, it's and I agree, but there are leftists in America who are no, there shouldn't be no limit. You can have 20 kids. Yeah, there should be that sweet spot of fucking that once you reach it, you can't go more, and okay, this is the sweet spot. This is as much as I get.
Yeah,
and you turn it into a profit. Had Marx recognized that capitalism might rely on both an immense amount of unpaid domestic labor for the reproduction of the workforce and the devaluation of these reproductive activities in order to cut the cost of labor power, he may have been less inclined to consider capitalist development as inevitable and progressive. See, I don't understand what her opinion is. If the man stays at home, does he need to pay for his work?
No.
See,
why would she care? Why would she even bring it up? It wouldn't.
Let's say that I make YouTube videos and I stay at home all day. So after I finish my YouTube, I start cleaning the house and doing chores. And the woman has a job where she goes out and works, right? Should I be paid for my housework? According to Silvia Federici.
Yeah, well, according to her, probably, yeah.
Well, I think she'll find a loophole or a reason. Yeah, probably because I don't give birth and I don't understand the.
You're actually oppressing women by not understanding how hard they have it.
Mate, I understand that being kicked in the balls is worse than giving birth. And do you know how many women
can give birth again?
Yeah, how many women gave birth and then decided they want to do it again, and how many men got kicked in the balls and decided they want to get kicked in the balls again?
Yeah.
There, I finally fixed the issue. First 5 centuries of capitalism development have depleted the resources of the planet rather than creating the material conditions for the transition to communism.
No, my transition to communism.
Oh, you went off the rails there.
Jesus, I'm so sorry that we didn't transition to communism.
No, I really like how these people are talking. It's like that they're saying, and then woo, holy shit. As Marx anticipated, through the expansion of the force of production. Yeah, no, Marx did say that. They have not made scarcity, according to Marx, a major obstacle to human liberation obsolete. On the contrary, scarcity on a world scale is today directly a product of capitalist production. No, scarcity just means you're going to invent new things. Like if we would run out of oil, people would invent new alternative energy sources, which are already invented, for instance, electricity. Second, while capitalism seems to enhance the cooperation among workers in the organization of commodity production, in reality, it divides workers in many ways. Through an unequal division of labor, through the use of the wage, giving the waged power over the wageless. Mate, are you hearing this?
Yeah.
I
absolutely love it. I love the complete. And the thing is, this is the thing. It's all very top down. They always talk from a top down perspective, as if these businesses sprung out of the ether, fully formed and completely in control.
Yeah. And it's also look at this. This book was written in the 900s, right? After Marx, and it's like, and through the institutionalized of sexism and racism. Like, when was this shit written? Oh, 2008. So they were talking about. There's 2 problems with this. There is a video that I showed you with Hitler actually having a speak at the dinner table. It's the only recording in history where Hitler is not on a podium talking to the people, right? So he doesn't know he's being recorded. He's just talking like a normal guy. And he talks about invading Russia, and he's scared. It's like, oh my God, we found 30,000 tanks there. We destroyed 30,000 tanks.
if someone would tell me that a nation has 30,000 tanks, I would never believe this to be true. And he talks about a Russian factory, right? This is the place where communism flourishes. They're talking about how factories exist under communist regime. And they're saying Hitler is appalled. Like, he is saying the working conditions of those people were unbelievable. They were treated like animals. They were made to work day in and day out, constantly producing for the Soviet industry.
Mm-hmm.
And you have here, you know, like one of the most evil men in history, being shocked at the way Russia was treating its citizens.
Mental, isn't it?
Yeah, and he says, like, we can't compete with that. You know, we can't make our people do that. It's
It's barbaric.
It is barbaric.
And Adolf Hitler arguing for it, of all things, of all people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You can find this on the History Channel. Just YouTube Hitler unique speech. You know, when he's talking, or Hitler free talking, only recording somewhere. You'll find it easily.
Yeah.
First, starting with the Mexican and the Chinese Revolution, the most anti-systemic struggles of the last century have not been fought only or primarily by wage industrial workers. Yeah, okay. And how do you think it worked in Mexican and China? You know, really great places to live.
Yeah, I would love to live under a Chinese system.
Yeah, especially like as a kid that's being tied into a factory. You know, they actually tie kids to the table that they're supposed to work.
I know.
They tie them and they have like a place where they can potty.
Yeah.
It just absolutely
foreign. I know.
Marxist projected revolutionary subjects, but have been fought by rural, indigenous, anti-colonial, anti-party feminist movements. Oh, look, feminists changing history. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. The feminists were the ones doing it. I mean, they're the ones who've done anything good.
Well, no, you know,
bad was done by patriarchy.
Right. If you want to say that feminist movement caused the revolution in China and Mexico, you know, that's fine. But then you have to agree that feminism is fucking awful. Look at what it created. Look at China and look at Mexico. Yeah. There's more reason to stay the fuck away from it.
Yeah.
Today as well, they are fought by subsistence farmers, urban squatters, undocumented migrants, as well as industrial workers in Africa, India, Latin America, and China. All of them are like really horrible places. I mean, I'm thinking of Africa. You know, when the British Empire was there, it was flourishing, wasn't it?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Well, I don't want to give the impression the British Empire was all sunshine and roses.
Right. But it's better than it's now.
In many places, yes.
Certainly
in places like Zimbabwe, yes.
And by the way, someone said that they live in China and it's not such bad. Like, listen, if you live in Hong Kong, then yeah, it's not a bad place. If you live as a tourist, it's not a bad place. But if you live in one of these, especially during Chairman Mao's regime, or you know when this woman is talking about, or you live in one of these industrial places where you can barely breathe off the smoke, and they're selling clean air. They actually sell clean air. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And they also sell like these bowls of clean air that are closed by a lid, and you can look at them and you can notice the.
Can you imagine living in a hellhole like that?
Yeah.
I need to live in a country where I buy clean air.
Third, starting with the Mexican and Chinese Revolution, the most anti-systemic struggles of the last centuries have not been fought only by... I read this. What are the prospects then? The Marxist theory may serve as a guide to revolution in our time. I asked this question by analyzing the restructuring of reproduction in the global economy. My claim is that if Marxist theory is to speak of the 21st century anti-capitalist movement, it must rethink the question of reproduction from a planetary perspective.
I can believe that that's what they want.
Reflecting on the activities that reproduce our life dispels the illusion that the automation of production may create the material condition for a non-exploitative society, showing that the obstacle to revolution is not the lack of technological know-how, but the division that capitalist development reproduces in the working class. See, I'm curious, if you could find a method to make people in a jar and completely bypass the woman's reproductory system, do you think she would be in favor of it or against it?
No, she'd be against it.
But why? Because apparently this is how you keep women down. This is how capitalism disempowers women.
Okay, her personally, she might not be against it. but women would be against it.
Well, obviously, but what the fuck do women have to do with feminism?
Good point.
Indeed, the danger today is that besides devouring the earth, capitalism unleashes more wars of the kind the United States has launched in Afghanistan. Who are they fighting in Afghanistan, you twat? And Iraq. Sparked by the corporate determination of all the planets. Sorry, I wanted to say, who are they fighting in Vietnam? Like the USSR, communism, never fought any wars. Absolutely never. No proxy wars.
Mate, they were too busy oppressing their own people, surely.
Yeah, probably. Mate, you're actually right. You know, I'm starting to think that the left sees the danger within and the right sees the danger without.
Yeah, probably.
I think this is how you can have a political compass. It's like, are you more afraid of the danger coming from within or from without? No, the left is like the police, the corporations, the domestic terrorism, right? And the right is like the Islam, the outer people.
The Russians.
The Russians, yeah. Put in.
Yeah, no, they definitely have different boogeymen.
Yeah. So Marx and the reproduction of the workforce. Surprisingly, given his theoretical sophistication, Marx ignored the existence of women's reproductive work. He acknowledged that no less than every other commodity, labor power must be produced, and insofar it has monetary value, it represents a defined quantity of the average social labor objective.
Maybe he was just like, look, this isn't real work.
Yeah. But not only that, you know, you can choose not to have a kid. You don't have to have one. You know, it's your choice.
Maybe this was before contraception was too widespread.
You can fuck in the ass if that's your problem. But still.
A lot of women don't agree to that. I mean,
well, then it's their choice. Still, my point is, you need to have a job to live. You don't need to have a kid.
Yeah.
But while meticulously exploring the dynamics here in production and capitalist valorization, he was succinct when tackling reproductive work, reproducing it to the workers' consumption of the commodities their wage can buy, and the work the production of these commodities required. They kind of lose me on this. It's too much of jargon and weird.
Well, and they're not really just talking about like the labor theory of value.
Yeah. They're probably complaining, from what I'm understanding, that women earn the same as men, and it's not fair because women also have to do housework or something like that. But if they have to do housework, then they can't be working, you know?
I do love the whole thing, though. It's like, well, you know, we should be paid extra. It's like, well, I tell you what, then, let's turn this into a competition. Who's willing to live in the shithole first? You know, we can do this. You know, I will fucking, you know, we'll figure it out.
What do you mean who's willing to work in the shithole? Like,
well, I mean, like, if you're like, you know, I mean, if I'm living with a woman, she's like, I want the house tidy. I'm like, well, I don't give a fuck. It's not dirty enough yet for me to care. So I think women have just got a lower tolerance for men.
I noticed this. I don't know why. I can't explain it, but it does seem that women have different cleanliness standards. Like, you can make a meme with what she sees and what he sees, and you can see like a very clean room with a sock on the ground as like what he sees, and what she sees, it's like chaos, misery, you know, plague, bugs everywhere. Like, yeah,
and I'm just not that bothered about it.
Yeah, I know, and it drives my girlfriend crazy to the point where she starts doing the housework, and it's really interesting. It's a way to push women to actually do things by not caring. The moment you start doing it is the moment you fall into the trap, because then they expect you're going to do it again the next time. Yeah, no, seriously.
Yeah.
Just you need to just hold to your guns. Yeah. Keep true to your guns.
Yeah, that's the secret of a happy marriage. Never give an inch.
The moment you put your hand on the broom is the moment that thing will stick to you for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah. Anyway, I better put an end to this video because
Jesus Christ, 1,600 people.
Yeah, and I can hear my kids thinking that they need food, which is just terribly selfish. But yeah, anyway, this has been good fun, man.
You're going to take some me time.
Well, no, family time. But yeah, I always have loads of extra stuff from This Week in Stupid that just, you know, doesn't make it in. So this has been quite fun. We can do these again if you want.
Oh, I love being your co-host. Thanks for having me.
That's all right, man. Thanks for being here.
Are we the first live stream on YouTube again?
Oh, I don't know. I wasn't looking. 1,500 probably not though. But I'll put a link to V's channel in the description if you guys want to check him out. He's a good channel. Go watch him.
Thanks a lot, mate.